I'm going to close out everything OBS-wise on my end here.
Yes, sir. I believe.
And if you share it on Discord, too.
Yes, sir. I believe we are live. Thank you guys for waiting in the comments. This is Richard Kosla, Ryan Gavel in the booth for you guys here. This is the Elite Daytona 300. Excuse me, I've not prepped for this race one bit. Ryan, why don't you take us away here while I get us set up with more things on the stream here.
Sorry about the technical difficulties, but we're up and running here. This is the Hopegivers International 300 for the 2020 season of the SMRI Productions Grand National Series. Race has just got underway now. It is a long one here at Daytona. 300 miles, 120 laps here to start off the season. We had qualifying, and it was Josh Adams picking up the pole, which he also will be starting on the pole on Wednesday's Daytona 500 here for the Elite Racing League. Also, we had a heat race that took place after qualifying, as we had more than 43 entries. Daniel Higgins, Zishan Dura, and Richard Hines did not transfer through the heat race. Only 5 out of the 8 drivers in that race transferred, so 3 cars went home. Full field of 43 Xfinity-type cars here on the racetrack, and it is a pair of Chevrolets up front right now, Josh Adams and Tyler Fode on the front row here, as they still run side by side, row after row. 120 laps in tonight's event.
Yeah, it's going to be a long one. It's going to be a pretty hectic one. I mean, we've always seen on these super speedways, things can get pretty crazy. And we even saw that in that heat race for deciding the final few positions, for this grid. And we had, 7 guys going for those last 5 spots. Of course, really unfortunate for the 2 guys who missed out, but we saw crazy racing right there in that 10-lap heat. Expect to see the same thing. We're going to have as well some stages in this race every 30 laps, so 30, 60, and then we'll go to the 180 lap mark to finish off the event. But yeah, we won't have stage cautions for those, so it'll just get really crazy probably around lap 25 to 30, and then things will calm down a little bit, and then once again from lap 55 to 60, I think things will get pretty crazy. So keep an eye out for these guys. Take a look as well at the guys who are hanging out in the back right now. There's going to be a lot of guys, I'm sure, who we're used to seeing up front, who might be just taking it easy in the first half of this race.
Yeah, that's for sure. A lot of people like different strategies. Some guys like to run up front all race long and have this, or at least try to win these stages. And some guys, they like to hang out in the back till the end when everyone gets torn up. Of course, no fast repairs here in the Elite Racing League. So if you get in a wreck, that's it. And at a track like this, a very small amount of damage, especially with these B-class cars, really any of the stock cars are very fragile. And if you get a pretty good deal of damage, your chances of winning are dashed. And that's all it takes is a minor accident and getting caught up in the big one or something. And you're in real big trouble here. But early on, Josh Adams, this guy has been really strong qualifying, put in a lot of practice qualifying at the super speedways. And you'd think it's all luck when it comes to qualifying in a track where you're just wide open around the whole way. Well, obviously there's a little bit of skill to it, as this guy put it on the pole for both Daytona races this week, but he just lost the lead to Josh Robin in the number 8 car, who was a strong competitor last season. You see him in that new green and white belly up Fantasy Live Chevrolet as he takes a lead in the number 8 car.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, Josh Adams has been ridiculously impressive at these super speedways, especially when it comes to just one-lap pace. If there's anybody who tells you that super speedway racing doesn't require any skill, just take a look at Josh Adams and the way that he's been able to dominate qualifying in the past 3 events, really, that we've had here at Daytona. He's just a qualifying master here at this super speedway track. Right now down to 4th position, 4th or 3rd, kind of second in line there on the inside line, but keep an eye on that 95 car. He's always running up front here at Daytona, and he's pushing that 8 car ahead of that outside line.
Yeah, very strong run here so far by a big group of Chevys up front. First couple rows, all Chevys. Also Jeff Green up there in that new good-looking C2 Freights Chevrolet number 38 on the inside. 3rd car in line is Tyler Fode in that top line. And that Blue Egg Marketing Chevrolet for Lake Norman Motorsports continues to fade back a little bit. Behind him is Jeffrey Arroyan in the number 34. He's new to the series here in the SMRI Grand National Series. So we'll see what he can do. And off to a really strong start is, lap car Michael Daniel Martinez up against the wall. Very narrow track here. He gets a piece of the fence there. staying out of the way of the field, but very minor contact with that wall, keeps it straight, no harm, no foul. He goes a lap behind the field as some madness up front here. Josh Adams to the outside with help from Tyler Fody looking for the lead.
Absolutely. Things get very, very crazy. I think that's the biggest difference here between Talladega and Daytona is it's much bumpier, it's much wider. You've got a lot more craziness kind of going on here, as these guys are going around this racetrack. And it is interesting to see this package. I was actually just ran up here from the pit box of one of the drivers in the field here, Brian Blauman, one of the rookies in the field. And we were talking about just how difficult it is to really push in these cars. There's kind of a bubble that makes it hard. I mean, as you see Tyler Fody connecting a little bit there with the back of Josh Adams, but it's not as easy to get quite up to the back end of the car in front and really make a strong push like you can in the Cup cars and such.
Yeah, they're very different on how the packages are. Between the Cup cars have so much more grip, and it's so much easier to really get aggressive than these Xfinity cars. Takes a little bit more of a driving skill to get around the track, especially in a pack like this. Also wanted to mention the last time we were here at Daytona, we had a mid-season race. It was actually, I believe, during the chase last season, and it was Jeff Green versus Tyler Fody at the end. And look at those two guys right up front here again in the top 5, top 6 cars. Green there on the bottom. Fody leads the outside on the top, and Jeff Green got the win. We're going to see if he can go 2 in a row here at Daytona in that C2 Freight Chevrolet. Looking strong so far. And a pretty solid group of guys up here to start at the beginning of this race. But as we know, when the big one strikes, it's not if, it's when. So we'll see who gets taken out in that one because it's bound to happen. But right now, very clean racing so far. These guys know that it's early and a really long race, and a lot of good patience being shown throughout the front of the field.
Yeah, and Fody's got to be one of, and I'd have to check the record books on this, but I think Fody's probably one of the best super speedway drivers we've got here who hasn't won on a super speedway. He's always fighting up front, and he just gets pipped every single race. I remember, last year's Daytona 500, or last season's Daytona 500, we were talking about him the entire way through the season. Obviously, the battle he had with Jeff Green all the way to the checkered flag in the Xfinity Series before. He's done well here in trucks as well. So Tyler Fody has something at Daytona, at Talladega, but has never quite been able to seal the deal. He's hoping he can change that here tonight.
That is for sure. He's always up front every series, every track, every car he drives. Tyler Fody finds his way to the front. He was a part of the Final Four here last season in this series. Did not get the championship. David Tooker, our reigning champion, of course, in the number 19 Toyota Supra. He currently runs toward the back of the field, position 26. I think he's definitely going with the cruise in the back strategy here to get this race started. So Tooker taking it easy in that Monster Energy Toyota in the back of the field, but not everybody likes that strategy, as I believe our leader blinked out there. Ooh, some issues up toward the front. Or that might have just been on my screen, but one car dropped to the grass. That's not something I'm just seeing on my screen. One car down way on the bottom into turn 3. Not sure who that was, but
that was
way
90.
out of line.
Yeah, 90 car, Scott Crump,
Crump.
and that's one of our rookies this season. Scott Crump looks like he's got a problem on that car. Really slowed down on the apron.
Yeah, not exactly what happened there. He darted out of line, though, way out of line and to the back of the field. So issue there for Scott Crump.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on what happened there. He, again, like I said, one of our rookies this season, as we're about to go 3 wide here in this second lane. You got the 34, the 50, and the 3 all going at it for what even is that? That's 5th or 6th position?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That's the 34 getting left out to drive by R.C. Enerson, sticking it up the middle and getting aggressive up front is Jeff Green now leading that outside line. He got clear at Tyler Fody with that little scramble there, and Green really pinching down on Josh Robin trying to pick up these spots. I noticed last season when we were here, Jeff Green was very aggressive all race long, and at first I thought it was just going to end terribly and he wasn't going to last the whole race racing the way he was. Oh, trouble! Middle of the field, the 15 car is around. That's Chad Frankenfield. And others are piling in. The 52 involved as well. Marshall Stanley. Oh, and he comes back up the banking. A couple other cars involved. Damian Leininger, David Westergreen, all involved. Caution flag number 1 on lap 17.
Got a number
At
of
least
cars.
half a dozen cars in this one.
Yeah, lots of cars here spun around. Yeah, it looks like it started there with that 15 of Chad Frankenfield. Let's take a look and see what we can find out in terms of what exactly happened here with these guys. Give me a second here while I just reorganize some of the timing screens, and I can get you guys that replay as soon as possible.
Yeah, looking back at it here, it started with the 0-5 of Nathan Bird. New driver to the series, came up the track in the exit of the tri-oval. And I'm not sure what happened to his car, whether he got loose, whether he got tight or what, but up the track he came straight into the 14 of Casey Hatch, as well as the 9 of Joseph Causey. Then Hatch got turned down into Chad Frankenfield, and the field scattered to avoid, and the track was mainly blocked, people bouncing off each other trying to miss it.
Yeah,
and there was just so many cars back there to pile in.
Yeah, kind of tricky to see exactly what all went down there, but yeah, you can see there, Chad just kind of an innocent bystander in that. A lot of cars having to duck to miss that. We'll see who all has damage on them after that incident, but right now it looks like Chad, definitely one of those cars that might have gotten a little bit of damage, obviously coming in contact. I want to keep an eye out and see what happened to some of those other guys.
Yeah, definitely some damage, though, to some pretty strength-filled competitors here. Chad Frankenfield, Damian Leininger, who won this series race at Talladega last season, the sister track to Daytona. Also with damage, Tate Lytle, I believe, involved.
Excuse me, just having a couple of little issues here with our ticker. Let's see if we can get that back up and running here. Apologies about that, everybody. Just a bit of a short notice stream we've got going, and a lot of cars coming down pit road right now.
Yeah, coming down pit road is everybody. The whole field is on the pit lane from first all the way to the back. Some guys, of course, with damage are going to fix that, while others are getting tires and fuel. 120-lap race here, and we're about 20 laps in. And drag race off of pit road. Dustin Dewar looks like your leader. He does have damage on his car, so he might actually be dropping back. So Josh Adams should actually be the leader here once this files out in the 95. So he holds on to the lead. Your pole sitter, Josh Adams.
Yeah, looks like it's going to be 2 tires for a lot of these guys, and that's going to be that's a call that makes a lot of sense here. You're not really using a ton of your tires up at this kind of racetrack. Super speedways, you're flat out the entire way around here, and the banking helps you out so much. But still useful to kind of keep track of what these guys are using. Unfortunately, not quite sure how many tires these guys have available to them yet. But that's something we could figure out here. And yeah, man, I mean it's gonna be. It shouldn't change too much. We've got generally the same order still up front, but in the future we could potentially see guys making moves, taking no tires or staying out to get an advantage and get track position. But right now it's early on, especially even in the first stage. You want to get that fuel to make sure you're as good as you can be to get to the end.
Yeah, I'd say early in the race like this, especially, it's a pretty safe bet to come down pit road, and you're going to see guys here come down and top off. Including Dusty Dewar, who's got some damage from the incident. You got David Tooker, Corey Abbott, all coming down the pit lane. Those guys are guys that were already running toward the back, and they're going to make sure they've got all the fuel they can, because it all depends on what we get for cautions and when. So we'll see how this one goes here when it comes to fuel strategy. Still very early, and maybe too early to tell how this is going to play out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many things that can still go down. We've got 100 laps to go here. Yeah, what we do know right now is we've got some super competitive guys here up front, and we've seen just how aggressive it can get. We saw right there that, yeah, I mean, it's excuse me, sorry about that. Yeah, we saw just how tight things can get up front, or that was even mid-pack, and a lot of the guys who were holding back, they kind of struggled with getting things going here.
Yes, and Nathan Bird did get the EOL for that contact, so he'll be starting at the rear. Also, I believe Michael Daniel Martinez should have got the lucky dog there for being the only car lap down at the time of that caution. So we'll see how that all comes into play, but we got guys still down pit road fixing damage and whatnot. But first accident of the race, we are going to come to the green flag with 100 laps to go. So Josh Adams will be the leader on the restart with Josh Robin on his outside. the iRacing.com official pace truck here coming out of turn 4. The way these restarts go on super speedways, your best bet generally is not to jump right when the pace car goes in, as it may be on other tracks, but you just kind of want to wait because you don't want to be left hanging out to dry when the field gets up to you. So here we go. Pace truck is in, and we are back underway. Josh Adams gets the jump, and Josh Robin on the outside has a pretty good push by Tyler Fode, and Josh Adams on the inside has got Jeff Green behind him, as well as that 69 car of Chris Wright up to the front of the field now on that pit stop sequence. That's a brand new driver, brand new car into this series here, the SMRI Productions Grand National Series, working that inside line in the 69 Chevy.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious to see what Chris Wright can do. I think he's one of those guys who is, I can't remember quite what team he's with this season, but yeah, again, one of those rookies, a new driver to this series, a lot of new guys to the series, but a lot of talent, I think, and I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys are able to do, how they can mix it up in their very first starts here in the SMRI Grand National Series. And right now, it seems like we've got a chance for one of these rookies to make it to the front. But we've got rookies spread throughout the field. I can't even name all of them on one hand, I don't think.
Yeah, definitely a lot of new names from covering this series last season. It's about half the field is new, it seems like. Definitely still got a lot of those old faces that we're used to seeing up front. Of course, one guy missing from this race, Ryan Lutz. I know you're watching out there tonight. Ryan Lutz, unfortunately, has COVID-19 and was not able to make, and he's also having computer issues on top of that, so was not able to make tonight's race here, the season opener. Hopefully he'll be back in action soon. We know he's a threat week in and week out to win in every single series the Elite Racing League puts on. So hopefully Lutzy will be back soon. But right now his teammate Tyler Fode on that outside behind Josh Robbins looking strong.
Yeah, we're going to see them stay 2x2 here, but I think once again it's going to calm down a little bit as we get going, and then I expect to see things ramping up just a tad bit. I'm curious to see who decides to go for these stage points. Obviously, it's it's the first race of the season. This is the first stage of the season. You're not really necessarily thinking about points. A lot of these guys are purely just thinking, hey, let's try and grab the win that we can. So there's going to be different mentalities, and I've always found stage racing at super speedways to be very interesting because you've got those two extremely different mentalities going at it. You've got the guys, that we're seeing up front here, Tyler Fode, Josh Adams, Josh Robin, Jeff Green, who are running up at the front and want to be up at the front for the entire race going for it. But then you've also got a ton of guys who are hanging out in the back right now who are just waiting for the next big one, hope to avoid that, and then just try and make their way up at the end of the race and ignore all those stage points.
Yeah, it's very risky. Whatever strategy you go with, there's no real safe strategy, because you saw some of the guys that hung out in the back of the field hoping to avoid the caution get caught up in the caution. When you check up for an accident like that, there's guys that maybe don't check up as well as you would have hoped. There's guys that just swerve at you and into your line where you're trying to dodge and avoid. It's just, there's a ton of risk. And then there's the other strategy where you try to get to the front of the field so you can stay in front of the caution. Well, then you could end up in the middle of the pack when the caution happens, and then you're on your roof or something. So there's all sorts of different strategies, and really none of them are 100% safe unless you don't start the race. That's probably the only safe strategy, is just to not race. But here comes Josh Adams with Tyler Fode's help behind him, and Caleb Thompson also on the outside as Adams retakes the lead.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of building off of that, I mean, you want to talk about just never being able to avoid something at Daytona. Talk about one of our coworkers here at the Elite Racing Network, and that's David Westergreen. Man has started a number of Daytona races in the past couple of weeks and just has never quite had the luck come together to avoid these early crashes. We might have him joining us in the booth in just a minute here as I see him just hop into the waiting room. But yeah, I mean, David with absolutely zero luck at these super speedways, man. We were just talking about how no matter where you sit, whether you're fighting up at the front, going aggressive, or just hanging out back trying to make it to the end, somehow you're always getting involved in these ridiculous wrecks.
You gotta be careful. I'm really mad because somebody didn't hold their brakes, and that's the only reason we got caught up in it. I was right in front of Weeks. I was right behind Vincent. We had a really, really good 22 car. I was just riding in the back. And got absolutely destroyed because somebody didn't hold their brakes. Just drove right up the track right in front of me. There's nothing I can do.
Yeah, that's unfortunately what me and Rich were just talking about. Is there is no safe place to be sitting at Daytona International Speedway in a super speedway like this, as you just saying, and we just saw you and many other guys were hanging out toward the back of the pack, and the way that accident unfolded, there was really no chance of you or any of those guys involved to avoid the spinning cars. And sometimes it goes that way, and sometimes when you hang out in the back, it works out. But there's really no for sure winning strategy at these racetracks. It is just kind of golden horseshoe luck sometimes, but definitely there's a skill to it as well.
Yeah, the skill is, I mean, the skill that definitely comes from that that ability to kind of sense when a wreck is going to happen, when something's coming up. I guess I don't have it apparently. I'm just frustrated because there's no reason that should have gone down that way. That guy was down on the apron, brakes locked, and then just let him up and headed up the track. So.
Yeah, unfortunate circumstances there for sure. I know I definitely haven't had the luck on the super speedways on the Cup side of thing. I think both races at super speedways in the Cup Series last season, I found myself wrecked and out of the race due to just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And it's unfortunate like that, but hopefully your luck comes back to you when we hit some of the maybe Kyle Busch will call them real racetracks starting next week when we head into the Michigan Speedway. But thankfully for you, if you're not a fan of the super speedways, we only go to 2 this season. We'll be at Talladega not until May 10th, so you got a lot of time to put together some really good results on those racetracks. As man, we're getting real feisty here in the middle of the pack. Some 3-wide racing here. Scott Crump split in the middle of R.C. Enerson back there. Joseph Causey also in the mix of that as Josh Robbins and Josh Adams remain side by side for the lead.
Yeah, and this is kind of what we were talking about. We're running lap 29 here. We've got a car blinking. That's the smoke you see on the screen there. Not quite sure who that was, but yeah, man, oh man, it's this is where things really start heating up because the guys who are up front, they're starting to think, well, hey, I could probably nab 1 or 2 extra points here. I think it was Scott Crump who's blinking over there. They're thinking, yeah, let's see if I can grab 1 or 2 points here on the stage. Might as well, because we've seen, the drivers who can make it into the chase can be decided by just 1 or 2 points at the very end of this season. So every point that they gather right now could be worth it. And I think it's either at the end of this lap or we just had it. The top 10 just scored the stage points.
So yes, race admin Alex Bell gone over the radio. This is the last lap of the stage, but there is no stage cautions. So unlike unlike NASCAR rather, where there are cautions at the end of every stage here in the Elite Racing League, we're going to do stages without caution. So it pays just like real NASCAR would with the stage points and playoff points, but no caution will fly except for at the road course races, I believe, as long as that rule stays the same as Tyler Fode gets bent all out of shape with some help from Caleb Thompson behind him. The top line is checking up really hard right now, and it just dominoed all the way to the back. Jeff Green's going to make a run at the stage win. He might have some help, and at the line,
it's Josh
Adams. Yeah, he's going to hang on and win the stage. Jeff Green, though, has got some help, and he's going to fall back. Josh Adams is. Look at that freight train of cars on the outside. Adams falls to the back, but he did win the stage and picks up the stage points.
Yeah, now it's Jeff Green and Wright who are now kind of walking away from the rest of these groups, or that 2-car train really just kind of worked their way back up the order. We've got everyone 2 by 2 here. This kind of front pack looks like it's about the top 12 or so cars, I think, side by side. We've got them here, and we've got a couple of cars trailing back before it's a little bit less organized further back. So the guys who are kind of sitting back want to make sure that they don't lose touch with these guys, because once you lose that draft, I mean, you're talking about losing 10 to 15 miles an hour all the way around this racetrack. It is a huge, huge disadvantage.
Yeah, and a quick note that these 3 cars on the front, on the bottom of the racetrack, are all Ruthless Motorsports cars. You might have heard us when we talked about them in qualifying and in the dual race. When those guys got hooked up at the front, they really were fast. That seems to definitely be their plan, to run kind of 1, 2, 3 on that bottom line and hold that down.
Yeah, they're looking really strong right now, but it's been like the same group of 6 guys toward the front, and that's those 6 guys that are running there right now. Adams, Thompson, Fode, Robin, Wright, and Green have been running up front, and no one's really made any drastic moves, and that's a good thing because we're still very, very early in the going of this race. Still just shy of 90 laps to go, Still a long ways in this race before anyone starts making any hectic moves trying to gain 10 spots in one corner or something crazy like that. So staying calm still right now, which is good. And defending Daytona winner from last season, Jeff Green, continues to lead after the stage break, or the lack of a stage break, but the stage finish there after lap 30. Jeff Green leads.
Yeah, and how about this? Let's, if you want someone to bring the action here at Daytona, look to this outside line here, this 94 car. Kendall No player, I was surprised to see him in the last car qualifier, but he made the show. And look out for this 94 car, because if there's someone who knows how to get it done on these super speedways, it is Kendall No player. He's got one of the best average finishes of any driver at a super speedway in the elite racing leagues. He's going aggressive here right now. He's kind of all alone up top, and he's probably going to lose some momentum here. But he knows how to keep that car going towards the end of the race, and always look out for that 94 car when it comes down to the last 10 laps or so.
Yeah, he won last season's Daytona 500, and also in the Cup Series at Talladega. He was up in the front at the very end of that race before Ryan Lutz got him at the very end. But and that was a very exciting race. I remember getting taken out of that one early and getting to watch the broadcast of the end of the Talladega race in the Cup Series last season. Was very entertaining finish, that's for sure. And Jeff Green, though, looking strong right now. Just that Ruthless Motorsports trio on the bottom is looking pretty strong.
Guy who jumped into the top 10, who was also in that last chance qualifier race, Corey Abbott, newcomer to the home place Xfinity Series for Elite Racing, doing a great job. Kind of snuck in late after kind of spinning sideways there on that final lap, and showing he deserves it, running in the top 10.
Yeah, absolutely. Great job there by Corey Abbott so far. He's been a very strong super speedway racer. Again, I think he was a Daytona 500 entry or Daytona 500 only entry last season in the Cup Series, and had a great race going for him up until he got caught up in a wreck. So that was pretty unfortunate. But right now, putting in the work and has a good result right now, running top 8. We'll keep an eye out on the 7 car as he's sticking to that inside line, 4th in line there right now.
Yeah, up front here, Chris Wright has made the move to the outside of his teammate Jeff Green and is now leading that top line in front of Josh Robin, trying to make something work, that 69 car on the outside. And the Super Dope Podcast Chevy Belly Up Sports Machine is looking strong here. This is only his first start, I believe, in his career in this Elite Racing League SMRI Productions Grand National Series. And if he could bring it home a winner here at Daytona, that'd be a pretty strong start to the season, that's for sure. Ooh,
Yes.
Some contact back there. Chad Frankenfield just got into somebody on the outside of him that I believe was Brandon Key. It looked like Frankenfield tried to stick it 3 wide and got into the left rear of Key. Very minor contact, but definitely came really close to having ourselves another little accident there through the trial, but one of the scariest parts of this racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely. Chad Frankenfield with a very similar kind of approach to these races as Jeff Green is go aggressive, make the moves, and kind of force her way towards the front. And we saw that, again, work for Jeff Green. We've seen that work for Chad Frankenfield, winner of the Daytona 500 in the I believe it was the 2019 A series, or excuse me, 2019-2020 series that we did in the Elite Cup Championship. So he knows how to get it done here at this racetrack. But it's a pretty tricky thing to get right, especially when you run aggressively this early on in the race. You can see that he's already gotten caught up in that one wreck. He wants to avoid getting caught up in another one.
Chad's kind of known as one of the most aggressive drivers at these super speedway races. It's certainly not a surprise to see him making 3 wide moves that result in a little bit of squirreliness. But that's Chad's game. He's out there trying to make his way to the front and put that 15 car on TV.
Two by two, then. It's pretty nice and organized here throughout this front pack all the way through to about the 20th position. You look a little bit further back off of this top 20 group. You've got David Carpenter, another, I think, rookie this season, though he's run in some of our dirt events. Looking forward to seeing what he can do in this SMRI Grand National Series. right now running pretty solidly in 20th position and just hanging on to the back of this lead group. Again, we talked about it. That's certainly a valid strategy at these super speedway tracks. Just stay out of trouble, as we see someone drop down to the apron there to again, just get out of the way and try and keep your nose clean until you get to the final 20 or so laps.
David Carpenter is my teammate over at ID Racing, and right behind him you can see Vincent Isabella. He's putting himself in good positions. We were talking to him in the chat there, and David was always in the spot where it seems like no other cars are. He puts himself in really smart positions, which is what let him, miss that wreck beforehand. He was just in a great spot where he could drop down, stop, not get any damage. I envision him being in a good spot all race.
Yeah, there were definitely a couple moments I remember during last week's duels at Daytona for this week's Daytona 500 that I was really practicing on how to bail out and when to sense a wreck. And there were a couple moments I remember where I bailed out, actually one especially where I bailed out, and the next time around the track we came around out of turn 2, right after I bailed out, the whole field piled up and it was perfect timing. So it's really, as we got contact there, man, one car on the apron, believe that's Gerald Campbell as he continues to bounce off that apron and he saves it. Kyle Busch-esque save out of turn 4. One other car is also way down on the apron trying to hang on to its Casey Hatch. Everybody, no, they're going to pile up in domino effect, and there they go.
Here we go, into a caution. That's the 89 of Brent Jones involved there as well. We got cars around. We got our second caution of the night.
Kendall Noah player also involved in that. I think he caught the pit wall. He got spun in the tri-oval there, but that was just a big, long domino effect that lasted from all the way out of turn 4 and then to the exit of the tri-oval when they finally turned themselves around. But big accident there, gets about 3 or 4 cars involved.
Yeah, tough break. When you're kind of trying to slow up for those wrecks, you don't necessarily always want to stop, because what'll happen is someone will come piling into you from the back. Those guys, never even had a chance. You get on the brakes, but as soon as that right front tire starts sliding, you can't turn the car, and it just piles you right into the crash.
Yeah, it looks like that's exactly what happened there. Kendall Noah player really checked up hard for the stack up there, and he got run over. Gerald Campbell came into it along with a couple other drivers, and there was just no way for them to really check up as hard as they needed to. And that was just a really major stack up, and they piled in. So kind of one of those deals where you get a near accident like that. Some guys like to just slam on the brakes and get really safe with it and check up hard, and some guys try to take advantage of a moment like that and hope that no caution comes out and they can pass everybody. And that time they piled into each other and became the caution there, as that stack up led to our second caution of the race.
Absolutely. With that, we've got the caution flag flying here. We are going to take a quick break here. I'm going to be stepping out of the booth here briefly, and we'll get the broadcast just changed up a little bit. We'll be back with you guys fairly soon. Don't worry if you see the stream go black for a second. It should be back up within the next 15 or so seconds. Yep.
We're in?
Potentially. Oh, yep. I think we are.
We're back. We're back. Welcome back, everyone, to the Elite Racing Xfinity Series. I believe we're Home Place Beer. Gavel, you can correct me on that.
It's now the SMRI
There we go.
Production Grand National Series here
Thank
on
you.
the Elite Racing League. It's all good. It was. This is the first race of the 2021A season. We're back 43 laps into it. Just had our second caution, and it was officially ruled a racing incident, a bit of a stack up in the back when we had a near accident, and it became an accident that got about 3 or 4 cars involved. And now under the second caution of the race, just shy of 80 laps, going to be about 75, 76 to go. When we take the green flag for the restart, we got one car staying on the racetrack, but the rest of the field came down pit road for your pit service here to see how long they can make it on fuel and tires.
Yeah, Hank Steinmiller, I think, staying out to grab a point there. Certainly a strategy I would have liked to employ. But yeah, so you'll see my name scroll by at the top of the screen. I did crash out earlier in the race. Number of guys that came in. The first of those leading off pit road was Andrew Rucker, followed by Road Series Pro or IndyCar Pro RC Anderson. And then the guys who have been up at the front of the field the entire race: Chris Wright, Joshua Adams, Tyler Fode, and Jeff Green.
Yeah, you're going to see timing and scoring update here as we cross the line. Hank Steinmiller has stayed out. Of course, the interesting thing is a lot of tracks you can stay out an extra lap and lead the lap and come back down pit road. But here at the super speedways now with these quickie yellows, I mean, if you stay out, you're kind of stuck to staying out, or you'll have to serve a penalty there or come in at 1 to green. And it looks like Steinmiller here has elected to stay on the racetrack for the restart, so he will be the leader. Steinmiller, Rucker, and Enerson took 2 tires when you got Chris Wright, Josh Adams on back on 4. And so that's why the top 3 are guys that really haven't been up front, especially Steinmiller and Rucker. We haven't talked about them once this race. R.C. Enerson's been sitting around the top 10 all night long. And then the race really has been dominated by Josh Adams, Chris Wright, Tyler Fode, Jeff Green, Josh Robin has been the group that we've been talking about since the get-go.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and those are the kinds of guys that I would expect to be up here running towards the front trying to win this race. You know, back at Daytona in the Xfinity Series last, I guess that was maybe September or October, we saw Tyler Fode and Jeff Green side by side for the win coming to the line, which I believe Jeff Green picked up. So that 38 car is certainly one to watch with the new paint scheme on it, and C2 Freight being one of our big sponsors this season. We can't thank C2 Freight enough for all they're doing.
Absolutely. So this is the Hopegivers International 300, and we have delayed the restart. So we are not going to be going green here. I'm not sure exactly why. Probably some lineup issues here toward the back of the field. So we're going to delay the restart just 1 more lap, hopefully. But we were about to go green, and looks like some black flags. But it looks like Hank's going to come down pit road.
Took advantage of it there to go ahead and get his tires and fuel.
Yeah, I guess so. So some confusion here though with the lineup. So down pit road comes Hank Steinmiller, and the rest of the field going to catch up to the pace car. Hank actually drove through without stopping, so I'm not exactly sure what kind of issues we're having here with the lineup.
You know, maybe he was just trying to go ahead and get to the back of the field, take advantage of that without having to drop to the apron on the back straightaway.
Sounds like there was some sort of contact in the back of the field as well. I guess David Tooker lost power of some sort in the back of the field and caused some people to get penalties. So David Tooker, our reigning champion of the Grand National Series here, is going to get an EOL for this restart. So it looks like some confusion here under the caution, but we're going to come to the restart. Now the front row is Enerson and Rucker. R.C. Enerson did win a race last season at Mid-Ohio. He's known for his road course specialties, but he definitely has shown a lot of strength on these oval tracks too. And I remember he was doing really well in his duel until he got in a late race accident last week for the Cup Series. I think he was in the first duel.
Yeah, that's correct. He was very, very fast, dominated that race. You know, he'll be one to watch on Wednesday for the Daytona 500.
Definitely going to be one to watch. Of course, R.C. Enerson has raced in real life in IndyCar and Indy Lights, as well as the NASCAR Xfinity Series, made, I believe, at least 1 or 2 starts on the road courses last season in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Hopefully we get to see him do some more racing in that matter in real life. And here we come to the green flag. R.C. Enerson leads the field through the tri-oval. Andrew Rucker leading the outside. Not as good of a restart as Enerson did, but that bottom line, Chris Wright jumps into it, and those Ruthless Motorsports guys instantly ganging up on R.C. Enerson here on that inside.
We'll see how quickly they want to jump to the outside. Now forming behind them is Joseph Causey and Josh Robin. I think those two might actually be teammates. And so in that case, then it would be 2 separate sets of team cars as Adams to the outside of Enerson.
Yeah, here we go. Those Ruthless guys trying to gang up. Jeff Green was not clear and not able to help out his 2 teammates, but easily going to clear Enerson here. Chris Wright and Josh Adams with a huge run. Tyler Fode's got his nose under Rucker. Man, that got really scary close right there between Fode and Rucker, but he came down across Fode's nose. Luckily, Fode backed out of it. He had the option to take out Rucker right there, but luckily he thought the best of it, and instead of destroying the whole field, he backed out of the gas and saved everybody's life. So here comes Enerson to the outside trying to help Rucker, but that puts those Ruthless Motorsports guys right together, back together again on the bottom. Jeff Green, Chris Wright, and your leader and pole sitter, Josh Adams.
Yeah, Tyler Fode made that move, kind of checked up, got out of it, didn't cause a big crash. That's the kind of move you expect from someone who's going to be running for this championship and going for every point he can throughout the season.
Yeah, you got to think a big picture in moments like that. You can't just get upset that somebody's chopping your nose off and you don't want to lift. You just got to think for a second and think, well, if I don't lift, then he'll crash and I'll crash and everybody will crash. Well, you don't want that. You want to lift and just let him in. You might not be so happy about it. If you're not so happy about it, say something over the voice chat. Let them know. But, I mean, nevertheless, saving everybody's race car was the most important thing right there. And Tyler Fode made the veteran decision to lift off the gas. It's not that hard, people. Just follow what Tyler Fode just did there. Pretty good move, but battle for the lead as that gang of Fords, not many Fords in this field, but Enerson, Rucker, and Frankenfield are three of those Fords, and they are on that outside line.
Yeah, Chad has used this to kind of make his way back up. You use that caution to get some track position and make his way up to the third car on the outside line. I think this 15 discount tire looking TD Custom Designs Ford is certainly one of the cars that we need to be on the lookout for as we get to the closing stages of this race.
Yeah, R.C. Enerson got a good push by Rucker there, and he is clear to the inside. Of course, Frankenfield was involved in that very first accident there in the first caution. He suffered some pretty good damage, so I'm sure he's down on power a little bit. The back bumper of that car is pretty well knocked in, but he is still holding strong up front here in the lead pack. And as long as he doesn't pick up much more damage, he might be good enough to just compete for this win. Ooh, as Adams came off the bottom there a little bit. Rucker's been pinching him, and that got really close to contact. But everybody staying strong right now as Enerson leading his first laps of the season.
You know, you look at this front row, Enerson and Rucker are the two guys who took two tires. And back when we were kind of riding around in the back of the field, our plan was to get track position. You want to end up getting up front because it's very difficult to pass. Unless someone makes a mistake or goes three wide, you're just kind of going to be stuck wherever you are depending on how the lanes shift. So, you know, Rucker and Enerson showing that all you have to do is get to the top five, and then you can stay there.
Yeah, that's right. But looking strong right now is, oh man, Rucker got a little squirrely there into turn one. It depends on how these pit strategy works. You can get to the front on pit strategy, but you need enough gas. We're still very early in this race. These guys are gonna need to at least stop one more time here. And looking at these guys taking two tires, maybe gas, they probably were still able to fill up. So everyone more than likely on the same fuel strategy at least. Hasn't been a very, very long run just yet, so everyone's been fine. But of course, 8 laps into this run, I assume, I'm sure you know a better number than me, but it's usually around 40 or so laps at a super speedway like Daytona on fuel.
Yeah, 40 laps is probably the safe estimate. You know, we were working with a crew chief in there, and you know, these guys we're taking it seriously throughout the field. It's not just one dude at his computer anymore. That's kind of how it was when I got into this league. Now we have, you know, fairly large teams. We got guys crewing. That's where Rish of Kosla went to. He was crewing Brian Blossman in the 29 car, who is, I think, one of those cars riding in the back up there in the top. So, you know, there's a number of teams now, and we got spotters, and we've got, crew chiefs and people that are kind of taking care of that stuff for us these days, which is really cool.
Yeah, definitely is a lot of fun. I recently became part of Lake Norman Motorsports, who you'll see out here in this race with Tyler Fode and a couple others, as well as in the Cup Series. I will be racing alongside that team, and it's really fun to get on a team like that where you have a really good group of guys, and you got some guys that race in some series and some that race in others, and those guys that aren't racing in such series, they'll come on when they can and try to spot or crew for a guy. And then I know I ran a couple special events outside of the Elite Racing League, and I can call on some of my guys at Lake Norman Motorsports to come help me out and be a spotter or be a crew chief in other events. So it's always good to have a good community around you like that on a team, as Andrew Rucker now clears to the inside and in front of R.C. Enerson. Andrew Rucker has taken the lead here at Daytona.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up Lake Norman Motorsports. I mean, I'm driving a Lake Norman Motorsports truck this season on Sunday nights on the Elite Racing Network. So be sure to tune in for that, as Tyler Fode is going to be the first car on the outside lane in that Lake Norman Motorsports number 40. And he'll have Chad Frankenfield pushing him. I know those two don't get along terribly well, but at a plate track, I think everyone who's around you is your friend.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think anyone's trying to make any enemies right now, that's for sure. You don't want to have an enemy at a super speedway. You just want to be nice to everybody right now. It's still too early, not even halfway into this race. I think what we got to do is we're going to come up to a lap car here way off the pace. Is Kendall Noah player. He suffered some heavy damage in that most recent accident. Last season's Daytona 500 winner, to note, as everybody gets around him just fine. But you want to just keep it easy right now. They've been doing really well at least at this very front of the field. They're in the top 10 all race long. We haven't had a single issue with anyone really getting too aggressive. So hopefully it stays that way a little bit longer. We can get some of these laps knocked off the board. And then when we get closer to the end, well, that's when we're bound to see the big one.
Right. It's going to be all about when, third and fourth place decide that it's no longer time to ride in this line. It's very difficult to go anywhere, very difficult to advance positions unless you're willing to push it 3 wide. And, lap 54, we're not even halfway yet in this race. Nobody really wants to do that. I think the only driver we've seen willingly take it 3 wide was this 15 car running fourth on the outside lane, Chad Frankenfield. And that was just him trying to slice through the field and get back up to where he is right now. And when you're doing that, he's expecting people to kind of lay off and let him do that and make those moves, because they're, the kind of people who are just going to wait for it and wait to try to get back up to the front late in the race.
That's exactly right. I know Chad Frankenfield, as well as Jeff Green, is another guy that comes up when you mention aggressive drivers, at least that you've seen at this kind of racetrack. I know Green put on a real clinic of aggressive driving at Daytona last season, and it worked out. He got the win there. But a lot of these guys up front have been really calm, really clean. Tyler Fode's been really clean. Josh Adams, Chris Wright have all been racing a calm race, and they haven't fell out of the top 10 since the get-go here. So a really strong performance by these guys. But will they be there at the end is what's important. You can race clean and race up front all race long, but if you get in a wreck, you're done.
Watch Brandon Key go up to the top of the racetrack there, saw a 3 wide moment, so I tried to grab the camera views of it. Another guy that when we're talking about aggressive moves is this guy who's leading, Andrew Rucker, in the 64. This guy is known to take it 3 wide and run the very top if he needs to get up to the front of the field. And he's used that to great advantage. He won the 2020 Daytona 500, I believe.
Yeah, I believe you are correct. As Tyler Fode's getting a real good shove right now by Chad Frankenfield down the back straightaway. He's going to be clear into turn 3. Will he take it to the bottom? Yes, aggressively shoots his way down there. He was barely clear, and now the bottom line really checking up. And I believe we are coming to 4 laps to go in this stage as Rucker makes a move to the top. He's not willing to sit. These guys are starting to get real aggressive right here as Frankenfield's now got to push Andrew Rucker.
Every race I've run at Daytona with the new kind of iRacing plate package, the way it's gone is, especially in these Xfinity cars and with the trucks as well, the cars tend to shuffle the front 5 or 6 spots a lot, and if you're not in those spots, you're just kind of stuck. And so we see Rucker able to get that run and jump back to the outside, which just envisions that shuffling effect. As here goes 2 Ruthless Motorsports cars to the top to take it 3 wide.
Yeah, Scott Crump and team owner Brandon Key have made it a third line here. Crump is bailed out for the time being. He might move back up there and help his teammate, I would assume. But here we come down the front straightaway. Guys are getting really aggressive right now. This is the most aggressive I've seen them. And for the most part, it's still pretty calm. But Andrew Rucker definitely not wanting to sit. Look at him pinch Fode onto that yellow line, as well as the fact that he actually made the move to the top there. No one has really done that. It's a fairly common move. It's not super aggressive to shoot from the bottom to the top when you're clear and you're the second car on the bottom. But we've seen guys just kind of take it easy and not even try doing that and just sit where they are. But Rucker is looking to win this stage here as we're coming to 2 to go this time by, and he's going to be clear and drop back to the bottom on the inside line.
Interestingly enough, Rucker was about the only driver who was able to kind of hold the lead on that inside line. In this 64 car, he held it for a number of laps, and yeah, whenever he drops to that bottom, this inside line really goes. Not sure if maybe Chad Frankenfield's nose just doesn't get clean air through the damage or what, but maybe the spoiler is holding him back because it seems like all the damage is on the rear of the car.
I will tell you one thing. If Tyler Fode gets clear here of Chad Frankenfield, he knows he's got every right to move up to the top and try to make a move on Rucker as he is all over the back bumper of that 64 Ford Mustang. And look at that. There he goes. Oh, but he wasn't clear. Oh, and he gets hit by Frankenfield. They all stack up really big. Everyone keeps it straight. but a big mess there. Fody wasn't quite clear, and now Josh Adams has moved the top, and Chad Frankenfield gets thrown up to that third line as we come to the last lap of the stage.
Yep, Chad Frankenfield dropping back, and he's going to get turned. Brandon Key around. Oh, and hit by Vincent Isabella.
Clobbered. No caution's going to come out, though. He's off the racetrack. No caution. This is the last lap of the stage. It's going to be Andrew Rucker and R.C. Enerson in that whole bottom line versus Josh Adams pushing Tyler Fody. This will be the end of the stage, but Brandon Key, heavy damage, as well as Tate Lytle involved, and I believe another car was the number 2 of Vincent Isabella. That car is destroyed. No caution, though, as they went to the apron. Coming to the finish of this stage, though.
Oh, man. You hate to see that for Tate Lytle. He has been involved in every crash this week of Speedweeks racing between this league and every other league he's running. But the battle is for the lead. It's between Tyler Fody and Andrew Rucker.
Oh, Josh Adams just blew up.
Oh,
Josh
man,
Adams
pole sitter.
Blew up, then lost the motor, and that's going to give Andrew Rucker the stage win. Adams was trying so hard to push Fody to that stage win. He lost the motor. That is the pole-winning car, the dominant car of the night and of this event. Josh Adams up in smoke. His race is done.
Absolutely. Just a huge turn of events the last couple of laps. Between Josh Adams, one of the Ruthless Motorsports Chevys, falling out, the other one getting crashed out, and Brandon Key. Oh, my goodness. A number of big moments here as R.C. Enerson tries to clear Rucker and does.
Man, madness there in that last couple laps coming to the stage end. But, man, Josh Adams, that tells you how bad these guys want the stage points. He was pushing to the end, probably thinking, oh, I just need to go a couple hundred more feet, and I'll make it. Then I can lift off and just hang out until the next round of pit stops maybe. But, man, pushed a little too hard there and lost the motor. And now look at this. All this madness and these crashes, the one crash and then the blown motor that happened has caused a split in the packs here. We only have up to the 05 of Nathan Bird is 10 cars in this lead pack. Then you got to go back to Scott Crump, Tyler Riggs, Chad Frankenfield, Thomas Sherman in this second group. But right now, this lead group is going to drive away. They are heavily outnumbering any other group in this field. And now we only got 10 cars left in this lead pack.
Yeah, caution will really shake things up. But if this thing goes green for a long time, I envision that this group right here will be the kind of defining group for the end of the race.
Yeah, we've seen this trend sort of at the other restrictor plate races in previous seasons that we have a wreck or two at the start of the race, as we saw, and then toward the middle of this, something like this happens where there's an issue or something that causes the field to kind of split, and then we have ourselves a really small lead group now. And then we go on a long green flag run till usually toward the very end of this race. We may go that long. We may go through this next set of pit stops. We are already 21 laps into this run, so about halfway through it. So if we do have pit stops, it'll probably be a little after lap 80. But, man, this could go on for a long time, this run, if these guys really decide, well, there's only 10 of us, so why not just chill out until the end here? If they decide that, then we could be in store for a long run.
Yeah, I'm trying to see maybe we can swing back and get a replay of that big wreck. I don't know if you think that's a good idea here. They kind of seem to be singling out. This might be a good time.
Yeah, I'd say so. We can go back and take a look at that accident. They're probably going to stay pretty calm. I'll keep an eye on the lead group while you go back, so in case something does happen, we can jump back. But it was a couple laps ago involving the 25 of Brandon Key, as well as many others. Caution did not come up. I know Tate Lytle was involved, and he has fallen laps behind since then. And so was, I think, the 2 car was also involved.
Vincent Isabella. Yep.
That's right.
That would be my teammate car. So let's take a look here as they come off turn 4. Up sideways goes Key, and then into Tate. Yep, into the inside wall. 25, 2, and 56. So one more quick look.
Yeah, Tate Lytle's been hanging out in the back throughout this race, and yeah, he's been involved in, I think, at least 2 of the wrecks in this race alone. I know the very first one, he was just checking up for the wreck, and someone came back up the track and got into him, but looks like whoever was on the bottom there came up a little bit maybe and got into the 25.
I think it was the 05.
It was ruled net code there in the end, but no action was taken, but it might have been the 05 of Nathan Bird there. No caution comes out, though. We have two packs that have kind of solidified up front. You got that first group at the top 10 cars. Then you go back to 11th place is Josh Clark, and they have kind of grouped together a decent-sized group of about 6 cars, and they are single file trying to reel in the group in front of them, but they're running about a tenth, more than a tenth of a second slower a lap than that lead group. So they're definitely falling back, but not super fast, and they still could get themselves a caution and get back up to the front.
Yep, I wouldn't count any of those guys out. That's a number of our Pro Edge cars, as Josh Robin has taken the lead with a push from his teammate Joseph Causey.
Yes, he has that 8 car looking strong. It was one of the... Oh, as he throws a block on Fody. Oh, man, Fody chops back to the inside. I don't know why we're blocking or making moves like that quite this early. Still just past halfway in this race. Tyler Fody got blocked to the outside and decided, well, I'm not going to stand for that, and jumped to the bottom, and Josh Robin almost came back down across his nose. So some aggressive racing going on up here when these guys really just need to chill out single file. If I were part of this group, I'd be pleading for these guys to just calm down, sit tight. We're all in the top 10. Why not just finish here if we can hang on and not have a caution? That second group is not going to catch up to them. And if these guys just hang on and just crawl to the end of this thing and maybe work together and stay as one group of 10, no one's going to catch them.
Right, and barring some massive pit strategy swing by that second group, it may not even be enough to pick up. I believe they're behind 4 and 5 seconds right now. So, you know, a no tire stop versus 2, something to that effect, might be able to get them to the group in front of them. But, yeah, this group's sitting really pretty as long as the caution doesn't come out.
Yeah, that is for sure. But we all know these guys aren't just going to sit here and just let this race end. They're going to race hard. We already saw some madness up here. If these guys didn't want to race hard, they wouldn't be side by side right now. Josh Robin and Tyler Fody were just going at it for the lead. Joseph Causey, Andrew Rucker, these guys aren't going to sit tight. So we'll have to see. And if you go back a little further, there is quite a sizable group back here, way in the back, that has formed. This really big group of cars led by David Tooker down the back straightaway into turn 3. I believe this is actually the biggest group on the racetrack. I'm not sure exactly the lap times. I still think this lead group is running faster lap times because I think a good bit of that larger group is damaged. So we'll have to see if anything comes of that. But those guys are about 13 to 14 seconds behind the leaders, led by David Tooker in 18th.
Right, and Tooker is only back there because of that issue under caution that he received an EOL for. He's the defending champion of the series. Was certainly looking for a little bit better run to start his season.
Yeah, unfortunate start, but when it comes down to the full season and how you look at it, I mean, you look at these super speedway races and you try just to forget about them. You try to kind of, at least the way I look at it coming into the super speedway races, Daytona and Talladega, is just try to have fun. I mean, these races, they're either going to go your way or they're not, and I don't try to bank my whole season on one bad restrictor plate race. But, I mean, I just try to go for it throughout the whole race and try to have some fun, throw some blocks, get aggressive with some guys, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. And I know I'm excited for Wednesday night's Daytona 500 here. I'm very excited to see how that race is going to go. I'm just in it to have a good time. Really, that's why we all do this anyway, is just to have fun, and it's especially fun on the restrictor plate tracks.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, and I would say, folks, you tune in on Wednesday night, you need to be looking out for the car that looks like the old Steve Park #1. That's Ryan Gavel's car. On Wednesday night, me and Rishoff Kosla will be bringing you that race here on Elite Racing Network, and that'll be our full-length Daytona 500.
Oh yes, it's going to be a good one. Got the Lake Norman Motorsports boys gonna be strong in the Chevys. It's my first race in a Chevy. I think I'm rolling off 10th. I finished 5th in my duel. The duels, if the duels are any indicator of how the 500 is going to go, it's going to be a wild one, that's for sure. I know it's going to be a crazy race, and that paint scheme was done by Ryan Lutz, a team member of ours who does all of our paint schemes for Ryan Lutz Designs.
And he's got COVID right now, so wishing Ryan Lutz the best. He was unable to come out because of that, so hopefully he's back and at it. He's certainly one of the favorites for this championship this season.
Yes, he is. Luckily, we get a drop week here for the series, and even with that, I think Lutz is going to be strong, and he's going to probably be able to pick up a victory here throughout this regular season. I know there's some tracks that he really likes, such as Iowa, uh, North Wilkesboro, and Martinsville throughout this regular season. He's definitely really strong on the short track. So expect to see the 36 in victory lane by season's end, and he'll definitely be a threat for this championship.
Yep, and one of his key competitors is in this 40 car, which is his teammate Tyler Fode. And Fode has been battling for the lead the entire race, making moves like you just saw right there down the back straightaway, though this time it doesn't work out. Josh Robin is going to be able to hold him off for the time being, but Fode battling back on the outside. I mean, this race to the lead has been very entertaining.
Yes, it has. It's been a very good one here for sure. And also wanted to mention that second group of single file cars is making some hay right now. They're actually running faster lap times, very slightly, but very slightly faster. Ooh, as man, Chris Wright and Andrew Rucker get into it. Door slam through turn 2. Not sure how those two connected, but it might have been a little bit of netcode, but they door slam through turn 2. Everyone hangs on to it. No harm, no foul. Everyone keeps it straight as Tyler Fode barely clears Josh Robin for the lead.
You can
and
see
moves to the inside.
You can see a little bit of damage on the right front or the left front suspension of the. Nope, that's the wrong side. You can see a little bit of damage on the left front of Andrew Rucker's car here. I think hopefully that wasn't too much damage and too much contact. But that 64 might be affected, and that might even hurt the ability of this front group if there's a damaged car running there, especially on the outside lane. That might be dragging them back to this second group.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep an eye on this second group. The difference from first back to 11th right now, 4.4 seconds. So some slight change there, but we'll have to see how they go lap after lap. It's about equal. Tyler Fode ran a really quick lap last time by and was slightly quicker than that second group, but overall the second group is running faster lap times than the majority of the lead pack. So we'll have to see if that comes into play. Also, if that second group does catch up to the lead group, when they catch them, they're going to have a huge run. And if you want to get aggressive, hey, you can take that freight train right to the third line and try to make something out of it, or you can just lift off the gas and just merge in with the rear of this pack. But there's definitely many different options. And hopefully they choose the safer one, as we are still fairly early in this race. I try to remind you all. But also we are coming in close to green flag pit stops. And I think before that second pack catches the lead pack, if they do, it will be after pit stops. Oh, we got one spinning toward the inside wall out of turn 2 and into the inside wall. That is Hank Steinmiller, I believe, was getting lapped by the second pack. He is in the inside wall and merging back up onto the racetrack on the back.
Yep, there he is. Slow.
Looks like, oh man,
damaged.
he was getting lapped, and Tyler Riggs came down and door slammed him, and nowhere for Steinmiller to go. He was holding his line on the bottom, which is totally fine to do when you're being put a lap down, and Tyler Riggs came down the track.
Oh yeah, might have even been a little bit of netcode there, but just can't hold it off the wall. Tough break for Hank Steinmiller.
Yeah, he's having a pretty solid run. We'll see him in the Daytona 500 on Wednesday, though, driving under the Lake Norman Motorsports banner. He raced his way in during the duels. That was a thrilling race. He was up there in the battle for the win there in that second duel, but back up to the front of the field here. Still very close racing. And now this pack has gotten a little bit bigger. Brandon Key is now a part of it. It's now an 11-car lead pack, as Brandon Key's a lap down in the group, making that lead group a little faster, but the interval really changing very little, down to 4.1 seconds, so 0.3 of a second they have gained over the course of the last 3 or 4 laps here. So they're slowly but surely reeling in that lead group, but we are coming closer to the green flag pit stops.
You know, I want to draw attention to a couple of these newer guys in this pack. Nick Massey, who is going to be the ERSCA defending champion, running here in 5th spot. And then right behind him, Nathan Bird. I don't know much about Nathan Bird. I know Massey and Chris Wright are both coming over from ERSCA. But, yeah, Bird up here in the top group, in the top 10. And then one more to highlight in this group is that 04 of Caleb Thompson. And, Chad sent out a little spreadsheet of drivers, where they are, where they're good at these plate tracks, how well they've run. And Caleb Thompson's average finish was like 8.5 or something, which was easily one of the best in the spreadsheet. He was very fast and very constantly up at the top in these plate tracks. I would say watch out for this 04 car coming up late in the race.
Yeah, he definitely has got a shot at it here. He's been strong. I know he was strong last season, throughout the whole season at many different kinds of tracks, and he is a part of this field still with a chance at the win here in the lead pack. So we'll see how this goes. That gap to the second pack remaining about the same, no change there, but strong so far, that 04 of Caleb Thompson. Also want to mention fastest lap of the race so far, the only car in the 46.8 second bracket, 0.8 second bracket, Nathan Bird. That 05 car has the fastest lap of the race. Very impressive for the rookie.
Yeah, it's been, that's the kind of the product of him sitting at the back of this front pack. These guys are running the fastest times on the track anyway, and being able to draft off of that certainly gives you that fast lap time at these plate tracks. Everyone's got it matted to the floor, so there's only so much you can do. And I'm interested to see if we get to green flag pit stops, will this front group catch that big group of lapped cars that includes Brent Jones, Vincent Isabella, Chad Thornquist, I believe. It's going to be kind of an interesting one here. This is a lot of lapped cars.
Yeah, and they are all pretty heavily damaged, every single one of those cars, except for maybe Brian Blom. And I remember him really checking up to avoid an accident. He has very minor damage, but those guys have some pretty heavy damage throughout that group. So we'll have to see what happens when this lead pack catches them, whether they'll be able to hang on and make this lead pack faster, or if they'll end up in that second group, or if they'll end up getting abandoned by everybody. But we are 8 laps into this run, and we're coming up on 40 to go. So I'm sure these guys' strategy is to stretch it as long as they can so they can make sure they can make it to the end on fuel, because we are closing in on green flag pit stops here with 40 to go here at the line.
Yep.
As we get by Hank Steinmiller, the lap car.
As long as no one comes down and door slams Hank Steinmiller into the apron, I think we'll be all right. Nick Massey's going to go to the lead in the 48 car.
Yeah, I haven't talked about him much at all tonight. Nick Massey, though, looking strong up top. He's got Chris Wright to push. That 48 machine in the Cadillac of Springfield Chevrolet is clear and into the lead, looking to lead his first laps of his career here in the Home Place Grand National Series. Or, sorry, that's the SMRI Productions Grand National Series. Got to get used to that.
Yep, we gotta make sure we are using our right sponsors, getting used to it. It's a new season, feels fresh and exciting, and then that's that same fresh feeling of disappointment when you end up running poorly at a race. I'm looking to see if we're gonna we may bring in Tate Lytle for an interview here. Tate was driving the 56 car, got caught up in that crash with Brandon Key and Vincent Isabella coming off turn 4. So.
Yeah, Tate Lytle officially scored 37th and out of this race, so not the start he wanted to this season. Also, Josh Adams, pole sitter, dominated the first half of this race, lost the motor in that car.
Here we go.
38th place finisher for him.
Massey, Fody, Causey, all trying to get to the high side and get around this group of lapped, damaged machines. This could
be awfully sketchy here. Those guys stayed on the bottom, which is totally fine. It's probably better than going to the top in some instances, but man, it got a little sketchy there. But it looks like we're doing all right getting through them now. 3 wide through some of the field, but looking okay so far. And those lap cars now, they're going to be right in the middle of this lead pack. And if they're able to hang on with the amount of damage they have, they're going to make this lead pack so much faster.
Yep. I think Blauman will definitely be able to hang on, and he's looking for a caution in that 29 car. He would be the lucky dog were we to get one. He's racing against Vincent Isabella in that 2 car, as well as Thornquist and Thomas Sherman, although I think Sherman is a couple of laps down now. But yeah, that whole group swallowed up, immediately jumped into the pack. It looks like they're going to stick with them.
Yeah, it looks like it. So that lead pack definitely now going to be quite a bit faster, and we still are expecting green flag pit stops sooner than later as we hit 37 laps remaining in, 37 laps remaining in this one. So this one's coming down to the wire. One more pit stop, which always gets sketchy here at the super speedways. But man, huge run on the outside from R.C. Enerson and Caleb Thompson, Andrew Rucker. Those 3 are passing half the field right now by themselves on this top line.
Yeah, the outside line, you're a little bit more like free and open. You can kind of run it a little more wide open. The bottom lane really gets pinched down and slowed up. I can't help but wonder if Nick Massey might be trying to do that, save a little bit of fuel. Whether or not these lapped cars pit with these front cars is going to be very interesting indeed. We're going to have to be careful entering pit road in order to not draw out a caution. But Caleb Thompson's going for the lead in the 04 car.
Yeah, man, Enerson, Thompson, and Rucker were flying with a huge run down the back straightaway. Enerson cleared Massey so quick he dropped down, and Thompson was still able to get to the outside of Enerson before they got to turn 3. So Enerson gave Thompson that outside. Now Rucker dives back to the inside, and Thompson's left with little help on the outside as he's got Chris Wright and then Brandon Key, who's damaged there on the outside line. And then it's a long freight train of cars on the bottom.
Thompson up top, letting everyone go 3 wide. This close to pit stops, you can't help but wonder if that's kind of a, I got to pit right now. I can't be up here.
Yeah, it looks like guys are starting to scatter and get out of the way, and here they come. Fody is in, Kazi is in, the 8 car, the 23. Thernquist as well is coming in hot. Wow, he might have perfected it there. I think he got it woed up. That was really impressive by Thernquist. Gained a ton of track position there, driving it in so deep into the pit lane. But Fody, Robin, Kazi, notable cars on pit road here.
Yep, and there's going to be one more lap until probably this group of cars comes in as well. Everyone did a good job getting onto pit road clean, and as we saw with that Brandon Key incident, if somebody crashes and spins to the inside wall, if they don't come back out onto the track, that may not draw a caution. So we just have to keep our eye out on these guys as they're pitting. Let's see who comes down pit road this lap.
Yeah, the field is led by Enerson, and he is going to come in and bring almost everybody with him. Rucker, Green, and that second group as well is coming down pit road. Oh, man, Sherman is squirrely, and Thomas Sherman bounces off the inside wall. He keeps it straight, but he caught that inside. Oh, Matthew Weeks gets turned by Frankenfield in pit road. No caution going to come out, but Weeks has a full 360, backs it into the wall, now has to back into his pit stall, and he's at an awful angle. Huge time loss here by Matthew Weeks.
He will not be happy about that. I've certainly run into my fair share of issues entering pit road when someone's kind of underneath you like that. Not the most fun having to deal with someone underneath you as you come into your stall. Like, what are you supposed to do? You're going to get run over from the back if you stop the car, and if you don't stop the car, you're going to get turned around. So very, very tough situation when someone's underneath you there. As here come the other leaders, Massey and Wright.
Yeah, also Thernquist had to come back down pit road. Must have got a speeding penalty there. I thought he got it woed up, but I guess not. Looked perfect to me, but didn't quite get it slowed down. And Tyler Fody, Josh Robin, and Joseph Kazi. We're going to see where they merge here as some of the field is coming out right with them. They have a run down the back straightaway. You see, I think that's Andrew Rucker and R.C. Enerson.
Ooh, car around. It's Vincent Isabella. Is that going to bring out the caution? He was on the track.
The caution is going to come out.
Oh, no.
And who steals the lead? Andrew Rucker. Has anyone... Well, now that's interesting. Let's see what happens here. Is that going to give the lead to Nathan Bird? Because he has just come out of pit road. Or was he a lap down? I'm not sure if that's going to be Chris Wright, because those guys that just were in the pit lane and are now coming out are going to be the leaders.
I think so. I think Chris Wright in the 69 right here is your leader. Timing and scoring has him with the lead. I think Bird had to come down pit road a second time. I think he sped on pit road. So top 10 kind of gone there for Nathan Bird, though he is going to remain on the lead lap in the 05 cars. Here comes Rucker to take the pace truck. We'll have to see if they're letting Rucker and Enerson by.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how iRacing puts these guys, where they put them, because we had a couple lead lap cars on pit road when the caution came out. Everyone had made a pit stop. There wasn't anyone that saved enough for when the caution came out. Of course, the caution was a self-spin you saw by Isabella. Coming out of pit road can be awfully sketchy. In real life, I think it depends on certain situations, but you can merge before turn 1, and that's easy to do if you can just merge right there. But in iRacing, they'll black flag you if you do not keep it on the apron through 1 and 2. So sliding down that flat through 1 and 2 is a really tricky thing, and Isabella got caught by that and spun out. But it looks like they're sending everybody that was on pit road to the rear.
Yep.
So that will give the lead to Andrew Rucker.
It will indeed, and let's jump back and take a look at the Vincent Isabella spin off pit road. can't help but think it wasn't anything more than you just mentioned with the getting it up to speed and gassing it up coming around that apron. Yep.
You see him dirt tracking it there on
Yep.
the apron.
Just
And he almost held on to it.
and really he did it. Oh, right there. Tried to let it go and grab the clutch and had to get out of the track. Yeah, that's
Yep.
the smart move despite the mistake. And that's tough for Vincent Isabella and the Drunk with Buds #2 podcast car. It's a good opportunity for him to get on TV, but not the way you want to do that.
I believe the lucky dog is going to go to Brian Blauman in a 23, at least on my timing and scoring. That's what it looks like, but we'll have to wait and see because, of course, that caution came out at a bit of a confusing scenario.
Waiting for the pace truck now. I think Rucker went around maybe one too many times there. So luckily, no one needs to pit. Everyone's already pitted. It didn't really trap anyone a lap down. Yeah, this will be the break that Brian Blauman needed, and Isabella is going to be the first car one lap down after the lucky dog. So yeah, that caution just nothing but bad luck, more bad luck rather for Vincent Isabella.
Yeah, that's right. Now we're going to have to see if anyone, I'm assuming that these lead cars are going to stay out on the speedway, but some guys at the rear may decide to come in and top off on fuel to make sure they can make it on a green-white checker, because we do have one attempt at overtime if needed. But I think even with that, you should be able to make it if you came in there and maybe you just save a little under this caution. But we do have 31 laps to go, going to be probably 28 when we go green. A couple guys, Frankenfield, Weeks, Campbell, and Personette as well, came down pit road. Also, a good time to fix up some damage while you can, because from here on out, it's going to be driving to the front. This is when the action is going to pick up.
Yeah, I was just thinking, the reason these guys are going to come on pit road is to fix that damage on those race cars. We've seen a number of incidents so far today, and a number of damaged race cars moving their way to the front. It's not the end of your race until the motor blows. That's what happened to me. That's what happened to Josh Adams. So a number of guys, trying to limp it around with that heavy damage and make sure they can get it fixed and have an opportunity to still come to the front and win this race. I mean, that's why you see Brandon Key still out there, Isabella, Brent Jones, some of those other guys, and then Hank Steinmiller is a great example. They're gonna keep pushing for it.
Still got some figuring out here with the pace truck, but I wanted to shout out to SMRI Productions, our premier sponsor here for this series, the SMRI Productions Grand National Series here. SMRI is an independent record label and media company that exists at the intersection of creation, media, and technology. Focus on delivering comprehensive digital content with organic media for all your digital needs. They also provide multiple avenues of content consumption, making sure that you're always in control. As a content provider, SMRI offers a unique, ever-growing catalog to fit your needs for any bespoke media desire. Of course, C2 Freight Resources and Richmar Florist also helping out. And this is the Hopegivers International 300. The Hopegivers International promotes advocacy for abandoned and at-risk children in the nations of India, Nepal, Myanmar, and Haiti. Their missions is to assist the needy and the oppressed in collaboration with our ministry partners. They want to educate those we rescue and give them an opportunity to impact their culture in a positive way. So thank Bird Racing for that sponsorship here for the Hopegivers International 300 here at Daytona.
Yeah, that's an awesome sponsorship. I've been to Haiti 4 times actually on a similar mission, and it's anything that's promoting into that country. It's a lovely country with a lot of really beautiful people, and I love going there. It's just a special place. So yeah,
definitely really awesome cause they're fighting for there. And now we reach 1 lap to green here. Before we take the green, will be 29 laps to go when we take the green. Still some figuring out going on, some organizing through the tail of the field. A couple guys got caught having to take a wave around there, etc. And we're going to be coming to the green flag here. Andrew Rucker, R.C. Enerson, the front row. Then you got Tyler Fody, Josh Robin, Joseph Causey, and Jeff Green the first 3 rows.
Yeah, quick shout out to Scott Haney running 11th. He was one of the members of that second pack. He has been up front all day long in that number 3 car and kept it, perfectly clean. Doing a great job.
All right, pace truck is in, and we are back racing here. Andrew Rucker into the lead, gets a pretty good jump here into turn 1. They're lined up single file through the first half dozen cars here. So pretty early jump there. That's what causes that, is them getting out to the early jump like that with Andrew Rucker taking off.
Yeah, those Fords working together, Andrew Rucker and R.C. Enerson, and they're gonna have to with all these Chevys ganged up behind them, and then in addition to them, these Pro Edge Toyotas driven by Ethan Burrell. Josh Clark is technically in a Ford today, but he's also a Pro Edge Toyota on the regular. Those guys are sneaking up towards the top 5 as well.
Down out of turn number 4 as we are getting ready for an exciting couple of laps here. Rucker decides to block. Josh Robin drives into the back of him, and man, no one likes it when someone comes up to block like that. Rucker playing aggressive here with 28 laps to go in this race. Lots of blocking going on. Look at Beryl. Look at Clark on the outside. These guys haven't been up front all race long.
Those guys have been hanging out in the back. You see there, our last year's champion David Tooker also moving up on the outside lane in this 19 car. Look out for these guys, man. They've been holding it back. You think about old plate races where Dale Jarrett and Bobby Labonte used to do exactly this. This is their strategy, and I think Tooker just drove it into the wall.
Tooker kissed the wall there in 1 and 2, maybe picked up a little bit of damage. He's going to hold it up there to make sure he doesn't get in anyone's way and cause any sort of chain reaction. Good save there by Tooker, but we remain green. And yeah, those guys that were laying back, it's go time. They are driving to the front now. Look at Josh Clark. We haven't talked about him at all today. A couple other guys here. Scott Haney trying to start to make his way up front. Nick Yeoman in the IndyCar Radio Ford Mustang. Look at him making his way up into the top 15.
How about Tyler Riggs up here in 9th? Now, Riggs, I believe, was in that second pack that was trying to catch the first group in that last run. He's up here with an opportunity to fight for a top 10, top 5, and even a win.
Side by side, dead even for the lead into turn 3. Rucker is going to get the advantage as we go through the corner, but man, look at how many cars we got in this group now, side by side, all the way back to the end of this field. Nobody's hanging back now. It is definitely go time. Josh Robbins going to get a good push here. He's going to lead this lap over Andrew Rucker, but he's not clear yet. Joseph Causey, Ethan Beryl doing all they can to push.
The energy in that outside line is certainly more active right now. Burrell and Clark kind of directing that. You can tell how close Ethan is to the back bumper of Causey. The spacing in that outside line is just very, very good, and they're continuously having the advantage through every corner.
Man, Josh Robbins got a good run. He drops to the inside. Joseph Causey now leading that outside line, but Josh Robin on the inside in front of Andrew Rucker and R.C. Enerson. Tyler Fode has faded back a little bit. He runs 6th or 7th-ish. He's the 4th car on the inside with Jeff Green behind him. He's kind of stuck down there on the bottom with nowhere to go, hoping a hole opens up. But they still run side by side. I don't know how many rows are on the racetrack, but every single row is side by side all the way to the rear.
If this is go time, this is where you have to make your moves. The issue is that when you're side by side like this all the way back, there's not very many moves to make. You're just in line. You have to just kind of ride and hope the line takes you towards the front. These guys in the back can't get too aggressive or they're just going to cause some crashes.
Down the back straightaway remains deadlock. Looks like we're still under the caution flag as we run down into turn number 3 as they remain side by side by side by side all the way to the rear of the field.
Ethan Burrell, second car on the outside line now. That 37 car has a pusher in Josh Clark. He may be one of those first ones to try to make a 3-wide move. And then for the lead, that would certainly cause some chaos up front.
Down into turn 1, it looks like an Oklahoma land rush here as Causey and Robin side by side for the lead remain dead locked as they head through 1 and 2. Robin working that inside line pretty strong. Rucker's been a pretty strong pusher, been a very aggressive pusher throughout that race, and that's paying off for that inside line, giving them a little more speed, a little bit of an advantage over that top line, but usually in the end that top line is the one to prevail.
Yep, the top line kind of shuffles one driver up to the front of the field. That driver jumps down into the bottom line, and then the next driver up just shuffles forward. So if you want to make your way towards the front, you have to be in the top line. So it means that guys like Tyler Fode, Jeff Green, R.C. Anderson, they're in the wrong spot.
Still dead. Look at David Tooker back there trying to make a third line work. Gonna have to see if any of his Pro Edge teammates decide to jump up there and help him. But right now he is all alone. But last season's champion wants to make something happen here in the get-go, early in the going of this season. David Tooker looking really aggressive, but he's got no help.
Yep, David Carpenter there behind him in the number 71 car. Chad Sweeting right there on the bottom of the racetrack. We haven't even touched Chad Sweeting's name all day, or Chuck Sweeting rather, but he's always in contention. We got a crash in the back.
The 05 involved. Couple more cars. Also looks like Scott Crump in the 90 also backwards. I saw at least 2 cars, maybe more involved. Caution flag is out.
I couldn't make out who the other one was. Was it Blauman? No, it wasn't. It was Nathan Bird, it looks like, in the 05. So a couple of guys, Crump and Bird, who were kind of up front earlier in the race. As Sherman goes sliding there. Not sure what he was doing.
Looks like Scott Crump stuck his nose in the middle 3 wide, and Nathan Bird came down a little bit. It was an aggressive move by Crump to stick his nose in there, and then Bird came down, not expecting it. Also involved Corey Abbott in the 7 car.
Yeah, Abbott raced his way in with the last lap pass on Richard Hines. So let's try to get a good look at this one. Bird, Crump going for that 3 wide spot, just no room for it. Nick Massey is involved. Going to save it in that 48 car. Great job.
Yeah, Massey and Blauman both made great saves. And Blauman, he was in lucky dog position. And to get the lucky dog, you need to get a 0X. And, man, he didn't touch anybody going through that. A really remarkable job missing that accident. And that's going to save him and give him the lucky dog.
I sure hope so. I've run into it where you get a 0X and it costs you the lucky dog anyway. It's a very fickle little system they have going on there. I want to go on board really quick with Nick Massey on this save. This is a really, really good save. There's the contact off the gas into the side of the Michael Goodman car and just saves it.
Ooh, got a little help from that apron, but still, man, really remarkable save there by the 48 car. We saw him lead a few laps earlier. And under this caution, a good amount of guys from the rear of the field came in, including Nick Massey, some other cars with damage from that Dusty Dewar, and Scott Crump all down pit road. Corey Abbott, Michael Goodman all came in.
Yeah, a quick note on Michael Goodman's scheme is that it's drawn up by his nephew, I believe, and so his nephew's been drawing up paint schemes for Michael Goodman to run this season, and that's just really cool. So if you're watching, Goody's nephew, there's your paint scheme, buddy. It just got bounced off of, but it's going okay.
Yeah, still hanging in there, that's for sure, and he's definitely still got a shot the way these races usually end. But Brian Blauman just picked up the lucky dog. That puts 28 cars on the lead lap of this race. Still 34 cars on the racetrack.
Now, Ryan, we have to do a paint of the race, a Kendall Noah Players paint of the race. Could it be this 29 car? Because this thing is downright beautiful.
I do like that 29 car. That is a good-looking one. Is that the Michael Jordan logo on the hood and on the tail? I like it. Kind of the plain black with the blue on the bottom. I think it does look good. I'd have to take a close look on everyone's paint scheme. Another one I'd have to put up for consideration, Casey Hatch, driving that United States Army number 14. We know he is going into the service. He's, I believe, from New Hampshire. I live in Massachusetts, so close by New Hampshire. I'm there all the time, so he's local to me, and it's really great that he's going to be going into the service soon. He's going to miss a chunk of the season while he is away, but that's another really great-looking car there, the number 14. Man, it's hard to pick. There's a lot of them.
I can't get a super great view on it here. Oh, boy. There we go. Something like that. Yeah, Hatch is definitely a good pick. I'd also, I'd love to nominate my car or Vincent Isabella's car. These two are a Rusty Wallace throwback from, I think, 2000. So those are great, too. Let's see. Personetti's Personet's car as well. I do like that one. Maybe Jeff Green in the C2 freight car.
Yeah, I do like Jeff Green's car, both in this series and in the Joint APS Cup series. He's got some really great paint schemes. I believe Scott Crump might have made those. Don't quote me, but I think Scott Crump might have helped make those paint schemes, and they came out really well on those two Jeff Green cars that I've seen, at least in this series and in the Cup series.
Well, I am part. I think I am. I think I cast my vote for Brian Blauman's number 29 for the paint of the race.
Yeah, I'm gonna join you on that one. I do like that car.
Awesome. So there you go. The Kendall Noah Players paint of the race. The Brian Blauman number 29 Jordan car, and we'll give it to him while he's getting the lucky dog. So that's the perfect time to kind of honor that scheme.
All right, we're going to be coming to the green flag. This time it's going to be 19 laps to the end, and we still have way too many clean race cars on this track. I think it's about time they all get torn up. I've got that gut feeling that things are about to get a little sideways here, and that's about the time it always does, is with about 20 laps to go. And the green flag is in the air. It's Causey, Robin, Birrell, and Rucker up front. How about that? Ethan Birrell driving his way up into third position here. He's been hanging back all race long, and now he's in contention to win it.
You know, we talked about the guys getting trapped on the bottom and then the ones that were making moves up top in the last run. Well, it's basically flipped completely. Everyone who was up top is now on the bottom of the racetrack, and Tyler Fode, R.C. Anderson, guys who were trapped on the bottom, those guys are up in the top groove now.
Yeah, still side by side from front to back. Nobody getting an advantage yet, but Joseph Causey working that inside line. It's time to get aggressive. Is he going to start throwing any blocks just yet? Is he going to just keep it glued to that inside and hope that he gets good enough push from Birrell and Clark and so on? That top line looking really stout right now.
Yeah, you know, you'd have to quote me, maybe correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think Causey's won any of these races in Elite Racing League yet. So certainly one of those guys looking to kind of make a name for himself in this opening event at Daytona.
Ooh, Caleb Thompson gets the wall there into turn one. No, I do not think he has. I know Josh Robin picked up a win, I believe, last season, but I do not think Joseph Causey, at least since last season when I became a part of this Elite Racing League, I don't think he's won one. So here is Causey, though, working really strong on the bottom, and Josh Robin working the top. It's been those two side by side for quite a while now.
Yeah, those are team cars. I can't help but wonder if they're kind of calculating this out. Those guys don't want to pass each other. They want to stay 2 by 2 there and try to prevent any of these guys, Andrew Rucker, Ethan Birrell, from being able to make any moves on them. It might be their plan.
Yeah, dead even at the line that time. Maybe that is their plan. I mean, if you just hold up the line behind you and just keep yourselves 1-2 like this, that's probably a pretty good strategy. Honestly, I'm not sure how well that would work out before someone like Andrew Rucker decides to say, hey, I'm done with that, and jumps to the top 3 wide and gets help and leaves you out to dry and ruins your strategy. But we'll have to see. They're staying in the line all right now, checking up a little bit on the bottom. Birrell swerved down below the line for a second, but still side by side. Josh Robin almost clear into turn 3, not quite. Good thing he doesn't make the move. Was not clear there into turn 3, but we remain side by side from position 1 all the way back to position 24.
Yep, just threw it on Scott Haney, who jumped to the outside lane. I believe that was a calculated move to keep that 3-car looking clean. Haney bailing out of this wild pack late in the race, hoping that maybe he can dodge the wreck and come home with a good finish.
Yeah, I think we definitely aren't done with seeing cautions yet. We still got 16 laps to go. These guys are still honestly playing a lot calmer than I thought they would. Some guys trying to make it 3 wide. The back there's Caleb Thompson with David Tooker on the top, trying to make a third line work here, but nothing really forming just yet.
Yeah, Tooker and Thompson, definitely 2 of the faster cars. Nick Massey's up there with them as well. They're trying to make something happen, but they just really don't have any runs. This very difficult for this Xfinity car to get runs where...
oh, trouble. There they go. Oh, Tooker is in it. Dustin Dewar as well. I think one car got turned. It might have been Dewar from the middle line into that top line. Goodman heavily damaged. Marshall Stanley, Scott Crump, Thomas Sherman.
Scott Haney. Just talked about him. Oh,
Man.
Boy. Announcer's curse, alive and well.
Let's take a look at what happened there. I think somebody in the middle line came shooting up the track like they got turned somehow.
Yeah, we'll ride with Dustin Dewar here through turn
Ooh.
3.
Looks like coming out of turn 4, Dusty's on the bottom of Marshall Stanley and David Tooker out of turn 4, and I think Dewar's going to come up into the left front of Stanley.
That might have been net code too. That car was turning to the right well before there was actually any contact there. That's a frustrating little turn of events there for the 32 car of Dusty Dewar.
Yeah, a lot of cars involved in that. Reigning champion David Tooker. We saw Scott Crump involved in that. Brian Blauman had it missed but got plowed by Thomas Sherman there in the end. A couple other cars involved in that accident. But a tough break for David Tooker, who's trying to make something happen for so long and was a victim there.
Wild ride for Tooker. I don't know how much damage there actually is going to be on that 19 car.
Yeah, he ramped up over another machine there out of turn 4. That was quite the ride he took. He went right up and over somebody's car. Looked like a monster truck there.
Not sure what Sherman was doing there. That wreck was clearly over, and he ran right in the back of our paint of the race.
Yeah, we'll have to see if any administrative action is taken against that. Sometimes they'll get somebody for failing to check up for an accident adequately, but under this caution, everyone 18th on back has come down pit road, maybe throw 4 tires on it and fix up some damage. See what it'll do. Nick Massey among those coming down pit road.
Let's go ahead and ride on board with David Tooker through that. We saw him kind of make a wild ride. So let's go with him here and see what he saw through this wreck.
Yeah, this one's probably going to come at him as a surprise.
There it is. Whee!
Yeah, that's a wee for sure as he goes up over the hood of another car.
Sliding, and yeah, I don't know there's too much damage to this 19 car. He'll certainly get that fixed and see where he's at after this caution, but for now Joseph Causey got exactly what he wanted, which was a few more of these laps to tick away with him in the lead.
Yeah, he is more than happy seeing all these cautions. It just means less laps he has to play defense. So as long as he sees more cautions, he is happy to see them, as long as he is not the caution, of course. But the front few remain practically the same as they were for the last few laps, but we're going to go green now with probably 11 or 12 laps to go. And if the intensity hasn't already picked up, it's going to pick up some more.
Yeah, I think now is when we're going to start seeing some of these guys in 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th start going for those 3-wide moves. These guys have been trying to get to this point, get to the end of the race without being one of those cars that we just saw, like David Tooker, kind of, flopping through the air. Now it's going to be gloves off. These guys are going to be going for the win.
All right, we have taken the 1 to green here. Joseph Causey, Josh Robin, the front row.
David Tooker barely got out in front of the pace truck, so he will stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, he's got to get a move on to catch the back of the field here as the pace truck enters turn 1. A bunch of guys trying to fix as much damage as they can to make it to the end of this one.
Yeah, we saw guys like Michael Goodman involved in that wreck as well. Corey Abbott, I think, was involved. So just a number of those guys in the back of the field all kind of driving with damage. This front pack has remained essentially unchanged since the early part of the race.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising how we haven't seen really that much of a major shakeup. These guys that are up front, with the exception of maybe Ethan Birrell, have been up front since the beginning of this race. I mean, there really hasn't been anyone who's fought from the back to the front throughout a run. None of that. It's kind of been the same guys up front. I know one guy that really dominated, and if I had to pick to win, it probably was going to be Josh Adams. He unfortunately had the motor blow on him there coming to the end of, I believe, the 2nd stage. But other than that, I mean, everyone that's been up front has stayed up front, and not many guys have come from the back. And I know it's a lot harder to do in these cars here, this Xfinity body, than it is in a Cup car, where you can kind of be more aggressive with a lot more grip.
Yeah, let's see. We'll have to see whether or not these Pro Edge cars on the bottom of the racetrack between Burrell and Clark can maybe get a run and maybe take it to the middle lane. That would be my thought process if I were them. Try to get to the middle. Causey's not going to give up the yellow line.
Well, here we go. Green flag is out. 12 laps remain here in the SMRI Productions Grand National Series season opener from Daytona International Speedway. Man, it's dead even into turn one. No lane got a real advantage. One car getting split in the middle there is, I think, Matthew Weeks.
Yep.
He actually is our most recent winner. He won the season finale at Charlotte last season. He's going for 2 wins in a row. He's got a lot of work to do if he wants to get it done, though, stuck in the very back of the field. But Joseph Causey is clear down the back straightaway. Josh Robbins going to get a push, though, with a run. Birrell was almost clear to come up to lead that second line, but he didn't get there.
Yeah, that's going to be the key. Is can Ethan Burrell get up to that top lane in front of Josh Robin? His teammate there behind him, Josh Clark, not close enough.
Robin falling back a little bit here as Rucker trying to push him. Birrell not clear to come up just yet. 11 laps to go here, 3 wide toward the back of the field, but still relatively calm through the front of the field, side by side, all the way back.
Joseph Causey in the catbird seat right now. Burrell looks to be clear to the top. 37 car could go up if he wants it.
Oh, there goes Birrell to the outside. He's clear. Causey tried to block, but not really possible there as Birrell got to his outside, and he's easily going to clear. Looks like Josh Robin might clear as well. The front two, ooh, but Robin decides to stay on the outside. He didn't get to the bottom. Wasn't safe enough to come down in front of his teammate there, Causey. Didn't want to take a risk yet, and that actually might work out in his favor. Rucker is going to give him a real good shot out of turn 4 to the lead.
The outside lane, the one that's moving right now, you see there, though, there's a third lane up there. Eventually, that outside lane's momentum might die out because of cars going to the top and holding them back.
Yeah, Matthew Weeks up there on the top. Looks like Gerald Campbell, Caleb Thompson trying to make something work. Weeks has the best run I've seen from that third line all race long. As he's trying to get something to work there, he's starting to pass some cars.
Ethan Burrell did not win a race at all last year. I don't believe in either the Cup Series or this Xfinity Series. And he would tell you that he made the Final Four in both, and he didn't get a win in either. Just that he's been not in victory lane is just absolutely remarkable, given someone with that much speed. It could be Ethan Burrell's time here today. He certainly would like to see it.
Man, out of turn number 4, Ethan Burrell looking strong right now. Causey's clear, though, and he moves to the top, but so is Andrew Rucker. They go to the third line. We got a scramble of race cars through the tri-oval. People, all sorts of changing lanes going on right now. Rucker trying to lead this third line. Fody and Enerson trying to go with him. Where to go is the question. Fody decides to go into the middle line with Robin, and now we've got ourselves a mess of a pack here down the back straightaway.
Well, Ethan Burrell still has his teammate Josh Clark right behind, and I think that's 2 teammates right there, fanned out 1, 2, 3, 4 between Burrell, Causey, Clark, and Robin. So it's, I believe, PRC versus Pro Edge.
Man, Andrew Rucker is trying to make that third line work. He made really aggressive moves to get up there. It's him, Enerson, Weeks, Campbell, and the 48 car Nick Massey as well up top there. As here comes the number 9 of Joseph Causey. He leads that time by. Only 8 to go as more cars are starting to scramble.
Nope. We're good. Man, Rucker has made it as far as anyone has. And Weeks is in the wall.
Jeff Green, Matthew Weeks, Gerald Campbell. Multiple cars involved. Caleb Thompson is in it. Caution flag is out yet again with 8 laps to go.
You know, that was as big as that could have been. I think that was a fairly small big one. That could have been a lot bigger. Oh, David Carpenter with big damage. He'd been clean all day.
Definitely got away with what could have been a lot worse there.
Yeah, tough break for a number of the guys that have been running up near the front of the field, but I don't believe that we had more than maybe 7 or 8 cars involved in that one. We'll have to watch that back. What an incredible work by some of these guys to make that work.
Yeah, it looks like Gerald Campbell and Matthew Weeks were working together on that top line. And Weeks came down the track ever so slightly, and Campbell got into the back of Weeks ever so slightly and turned him.
Right there.
And there they went. It's a racing deal. No penalties for that, which I believe is the right call. That was just hard racing. Guys were pushing each other, and that tap, I'm surprised that bump actually went wrong and really didn't look nearly as aggressive as some of the bumps I had seen throughout this race, but that's all it took.
Yeah, I think the bump maybe was because of Weeks' damage here. Let's see if we can't get a little bit of a look. Yeah, Weeks has some damage on the back bumper of that 11 car from that spin on pit road. And I think that was 100% what kind of turned him sideways. Nick Massey with another incredible save. And Weeks is going to have a good bit of damage.
Now, one car, I think, if we got to go on an onboard for a replay here, Nick Yeoman in the 55, making his season debut here. Did not run last season in the IndyCar radio car. Man, he makes quite the avoidance here. Watch this. Working on the inside line. They all wreck on his outside, right in his face. He gets it to the apron and barely misses it. Also almost turned Tyler Riggs, too, as he came down across the track.
Yeah, did a great job of checking up and letting Tyler Riggs save the 26 car in front of him. In fact, let's also go on board with Tyler Riggs making that save as well. You know, he got door slammed by Jeff Green, kind of coming down in that crash, but I think it's worth a look.
Yeah, I think Nick Yeoman is someone we haven't talked about much, and he's one of maybe 6 cars with no damages. Man, that was a good save there by Riggs. But Yeoman might be one of probably around 6 or 7 cars with no damage whatsoever to their car. That 55 car is spotless, I do believe, and not many cars are spotless like that. And I mean, that could be what it takes to have the power to get a run to the finish here. Yeoman sits 10th here for this restart.
You know, you see Jeff Green, Chad Frankenfield, those guys have some pretty significant damage. I think Green's car might even be, that's not the right camera angle at all. Well, Green's car might even be like severely damaged. I mean, you see all the damage to the spoiler and left side of that car. I can't help but wonder if staying out for Green might spell some doom for some of these guys back in the pack, looking to make up ground. That might be bad for them just because this 38 car may not be as fast as it was.
Yeah, he definitely got a lot of damage from that accident that just took place. So it's going to be interesting to see how these guys fare. But right on the restart, you're going to see if someone does have bad damage like Jeff Green possibly, they are not going to get going whatsoever, and they're going to scatter and leave them out to dry. So that's what could cause this next accident here if we get another one. But we're probably going to go green with 4 to go, and it's Ethan Burrell leading this race.
Yep, Ethan Burrell, and he's going to be right in front of teammate Josh Clark once again. So that'll line up the PRC cars of Joseph Causey and Josh Robin on the top once again. The question now becomes, you know, who's going to be able to push their teammate better? It might be up to between Robin and Clark, and I think we've seen Robin be a little bit more aggressive than Clark throughout the day.
Yeah, I'm interested to see who takes advantage of this restart here, who takes advantage of another driver. Someone who's been kind of quiet these last few restarts and for a little while here, even though he's been up front, is Tyler Fode. He's kind of just been there. I mean, he hasn't made a lot of noise, made any aggressive moves. He's just kind of been there here in this top 10, top 5 all race long, and don't count him out. He came runner-up at Daytona last season to Jeff Green, and he could very well get it done here tonight.
Yeah, Fode is certainly one of those guys you expect to be there, but Fode drives these things with a big brain. He's looking for as much room and as many positions and points as he can get. So you know, if he wants to if he finishes second, he's going to take that, as opposed to making a big bold move and winding up 20th. That's how you win these points standings and win these regular season titles, which it seems like he's always in.
So coming into turn 3 here, it's going to be 4 laps to the checkered flag. Ethan Burrell started this race 14th. He is on the front row for this restart. Also, Josh Clark, he started 40th and had to race his way in through the LCQ heat race.
Yep.
He started this race in 40th position, runs 3rd here coming down to the wire.
Yep, was running with Clark early in the race. We weren't really pushing it or anything, and it's certainly good to see him up here running for the win, even though he's driving a mistake. Andrew Rucker paint scheme.
Yes, he is, and here we come to the green flag. Back underway, Ethan Burrell and Joseph Causey on the front row.
Inside line's a little bit better grouped here. Ranger Rucker certainly a little bit more aggressive than Tyler Fode right now. And that's what's giving the advantage to Ethan Burrell, though Robin able to kind of keep Causey right with Burrell.
A lot of checking up toward the back. Some guys with heavy damage trying to get out of the way, and some of them are in the way. But nevertheless, this front field getting through turn 2 and down the Daytona super stretch all right. It is Causey with help from Robin on the top, and then Clark and Burrell on the bottom. Look at Tyler Fode also on that outside.
Ethan Burrell trying to get that inside line to work, that shortest way around, but the inside line just only has the 3 cars. The outside line's going to be forming up with momentum. So Burrell's going to have to find a way to keep that 9 car from bypassing him, entering this tri-oval each time. 3 to go.
Down through the tri-oval and into turn number 1. It's still Ethan Barrel with a slight advantage. Let's see if Causey can get anything going, as this bottom line is looking really strong right now. Josh Clark is going to be clear. Does he abandon his teammate here out of turn number 2?
I don't think so. They gotta stick together if they want one of them to win it. Clark all over the back bumper of Burrell.
Yeah, he's going to do just that. He stays on the bottom. He's going to let Causey get the run here into turn 3. We're going to see if that top line can regroup here or not. Let's see if Clark letting that top line go without blocking them is going to be the decision maker.
Nathan
Down
Yeoman
through the front straightaway here. Barrel and Causey side by side.
Yeoman has kind of made that inside line look a little bit more grouped up. Burrell's still the leader, 2 to go.
Oh, he door slams Causey and he saves it. They all hang on, but they're going to be 3 wide into turn 1. What a save. I think Barrel might have come up a little into Causey. That gives Josh Clark the inside advantage. Andrew Rucker into second, and Fody trying to split the middle.
That's going to give the inside line the run. Josh Clark's going to take the lead. Rucker looking to the outside. He doesn't have any help, so he sticks it back in.
Oh, man, big blocks here. Rucker and
Fody sideways, and he takes Burrell with him.
No caution's going to come out there. Off the racetrack, no caution is going to fly. We stay green unless they came back up the track, which they did not. We stay green.
Robin goes with Fody over Clark.
White flag.
White flag coming out now for Tyler Fody.
Man, what a hectic moment we had there as the lines got all screwed up. We were so nice and organized for so long, but this is the white flag. Fody is going to block left, and he's going to block right. Here comes Clark on the inside with a big run. He can't go anywhere. He's just got to push Fody here through 1 and 2.
Yep, Causey and Robin, though, the 2 team cars, the PRC cars, trying to make it up on the outside lane.
Fody is sitting in really good position here. He's got Clark with nowhere to go behind him, and Robin does not have much of a run at all down the back straightaway, but he's got to make something work here out of 4. Can he get the run coming to the finish?
Tyler Fody out of turn 4. He's really in the catbird seat here.
Yeah, I don't think he can lose this race. Here they come out of turn 4. Clark goes up. He wrecks across the nose of Robin. Checkered flag is flying. Tyler Fody is going to win at Daytona and win the season opener here for the SMRI Productions Grand National Series and the Hopegivers International 300. Oof. Man, that was a hectic last few laps.
Tyler Fody just stayed calm, stayed in the right spot the entire race. And then, yeah, we just went crazy there the last couple of laps. The top 10 is certainly going to be a wild one. A number of interesting names ending up with good runs in this one. But Tyler Fody, someone who's very expected to win the championship and run for it anyway in this 40 car, winning the season opener at Daytona.
Yeah, locks himself into the playoffs. And then R.C. Enerson came home second. Joseph Causey third. Look at Nick Yeoman. He kept that thing clean all race long and gets 4th. Chris Wright in 5th. And there's the rest of your top 10. Look at Brian Blauman, our paint scheme of the race. We thought he was done. Finished 7th.
Yep. Robin ends up 8th after that late crash. Josh Personette always seems to find his way into the top 10 in these races. And then Nick Massey, first race, rounds it out in 10th.
Man, that was a wild race, and I was expecting that top line to maybe get a better run, but with only 2 cars in that top line, Josh Robin really wasn't able to do anything, and Clark was never able to clear him, so Fody was able to just sit there on the bottom, and Clark had nowhere to go.
Yep, and Clark's attempt to kind of move up, that cost him the win, but or even a top 10 run, but all in all, a very good and very exciting race from this SMRI Xfinity Series for Elite Racing. Chaotic now down to the end.
That is for sure. Now, soon we'll be able to get a word with our top 3 finishers, hopefully, and that is Joseph Causey, came from 23rd to 3rd. Also want to mention Nathan Bird, who finished 36th, had the fastest lap of the race. Tyler Fody, though, with the ever so important victory there here at Daytona, locking him into the playoffs. And a guy that's a threat to win every week, you come to a track like Daytona and you think, well, maybe somebody who's more of an underdog could pull it off and get themselves into the chase. Well, Tyler Fody didn't let that happen today. A guy who's a favorite to win week in and week out steals it at Daytona.
Yeah, and let's bring him in here. So Tyler Fody, congratulations on the victory, man. You did everything right there at the end of the race.
Dude, I don't even know. I can't believe it. That was just all reaction. I mean, just dodging it, staying in it, picking the line. It was a lot of luck, but a little positioning there helps.
Now, on that last lap, I mean, you just sat there on the bottom, and Clark really couldn't do anything for you. Were you thinking about making any moves, or was your plan to just sit there and keep it painted to that double yellow line all the way around that last lap or two? You really didn't have to do much.
And I'm glad for that, because the last two Xfinity Daytona races, I've been leading out of 4 and had to try and block, and it's not gone well. But I think the winning move there was when Ethan got all jumbled up, going 3 wide, and then going through Rucker, and then finally getting that bottom line to open up and just sticking with it. That was really what had it.
You know, Tyler, you had a little spot there in the middle of the race where you kind of just got stuck on the bottom of the racetrack, 4th or 5th in line. Did that ever discourage you, or did you know you were always going to have a chance?
Oh, it definitely wasn't fun for that little bit. I wanted to be on the top the whole race pretty much, just to kind of choose where I wanted to go. And getting stuck there kind of set me back a little bit, and I was kind of chasing that for that last stint, really, last 30, 40 laps was just hanging on the edge of the top 10, trying to claw my way back in there, which I guess ultimately it kind of helped out because I was able to kind of pick where I wanted to go in the closing stages there.
Yeah, it was definitely a wild race. Now, when it came down to that moment during the long runs through the middle of the race, when you were sitting in that group of about 10 cars, how were you thinking this race was going to end up? Were you sure that we were going to get a caution at the end, or were you more thinking maybe we'll get a long run and maybe this thing will go green to the end?
Yeah, it's hard to say. Some of these speedway races we've had one caution and others are a wreck fest. So I always prefer having less cars to battle with at the end. So that long run when it was going through, I was okay with it. But, for once, all the craziness of these late race restarts kind of went my way.
Now, anyone you want to shout out, anyone you want to thank here after your win tonight, your first of more than likely many here this season?
I hope so, man. I got to thank Lake Norman Motorsports as usual. We had Damian and Hank tonight. Damian, with his usual super speedway luck, didn't last too long, and Hank was hanging in there, but he ran into trouble. But overall, just glad to be able to run with them. And I got to thank Blue Egg Marketing, of course. Been the sponsor for a while now. Happy to finally get them in Victory Lane, and also happy to get my new sponsor, Days Gone By, in Victory Lane in the first try. And also thanks to you guys for doing this every week. And I'm sure it'll be fun watching it back.
I had the same luck as Damien, but yeah, congratulations, Tyler. It was a good race, and yeah, you did a great job, man.
Appreciate it.
All right, that was Tyler Fody, and we will bring in Joseph Causey now, the second place finisher. So Joseph, congratulations on your your third place run rather. But did you ever think you had a shot at the win there?
I believe I did have quite a shot. I was up there for quite a bit, and it seemed to deteriorate after, I guess I net coded with Ethan, and then after that it just deteriorated from there.
Yeah, it was a hectic race, and I mean, a lot of guys strategized to hang in the back, and a lot of guys kind of wanted to hang in the front, and the guys that hung in the front, for the most part, came out on top. I mean, coming into this race, was your strategy the whole way to just run hard the whole time and run in the top 5, top 10 from start to finish, or did you ever think at any point you wanted to jump to the back of the field or hang back? Was that ever a question?
No, it was just so hard to even where I think I started 20th something. It was so hard to get to the front. I wanted to get to the front and try to stay in the front. It was just so hard to navigate through traffic. It was a tornado.
Yep, and Joseph, you were working there with your teammate Josh Robin. Did you think that you guys maybe had an opportunity to draft your way to the front there? And when you were running side by side, were you thinking that maybe you guys could stay on the inside and the outside and hold everybody at bay?
Yeah, we were kind of trying to at one point in time, and just a couple cautions caught us back into that not happening, and then after that, it just went south from there. But it was a good run nonetheless with me and Robin up there.
Heck of a race. You definitely put up a good show up front there yourself and Robin, who came home in eighth. But is anyone you want to thank or any shout outs you want to give here after you
Uh,
start the season here, finishing third?
yes, I'd like to thank my team, PRC Esports. They got me on board here last year, and let's also thank my sponsor over the weekend. um, they've been supporting me since last year, and hopefully we could get them a win this year. That's what I'm definitely hoping for.
Sounds like a plan. Well, congratulations on the third place finish. And hopefully we get to talk to you again sooner than later.
All right, appreciate it.
Yep, thanks, Joseph. And we'll also bring in our second place finisher, RC Anderson. RC, congratulations on the second place run, but you came up just. Oh, shoot. Thought I had him. There he is.
There you go.
RC, congratulations on the second place run, man. But you came up one spot short. Was there anything that you think you maybe could have done to get that extra spot?
It was just pretty hectic. I mean, you want to try to stay up front as much as possible, because if you're up in front, you get to avoid most of the mid-race wrecks, but you know you're going to wreck at the end, and you just kind of got to cross your fingers that it's not you.
Yeah, that was kind of my question. Was the strategy that whole race just to hang out up front? Because I know throughout the race you got wrecks in the middle of the field toward the beginning of the race, and I mean that's exactly the way I think of it. Is the front of the field tends to wait to the end to wreck, but when we had that long green flag run throughout the middle of the event, were you kind of thinking, oh well, maybe I should hang back, maybe I should move forward? Was there ever a time where you thought different on your strategy?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to be up front, especially till we got through the first beginning yellows, because it's better to be up front, not in a big pack crash. But once we start getting that long green flag going and you start to see the pack separate and you're in the front pack, you kind of want to just sit behind that top 8-9 cars that are in that front pack. So I was trying to shuffle my way back on the bottom by not pushing at anybody, but they just kept pushing people up in front, and then it just the way it circulated around, I was just kind of stuck in the top 4 right there, not able to really get out of the way to get to the back. So I was just kind of hanging out, making sure I wasn't damaging anything. I think I actually finished the race with no damage, which has never happened for me at Daytona or anything plate track wise.
Yes, nevertheless, a successful race for you, RC. Brought it home in second place. Looking ahead into the rest of the season, how are you going to go at these races once we get back to normal off of the super speedways, once we get back to some of these regular mile-and-a-half tracks and short tracks and whatnot? How are you going to attack the rest of this season?
Well, I definitely want to get one of those short track wins. I know I have my crutches. I rely on the road courses. Because I seem to do all right with those. I'm more of a road racing guy on iRacing. I'm still getting the hang of the whole oval deal. But I think I got better as the season went on last year on the oval stuff. I started to put it on pole more at the end, and then being able to run up front. Finally figured out tire management. So it's just a combination of that. I think we'll be pretty solidly. I think we're a good playoff contender. Obviously, road course is the best place to secure a spot by guaranteeing yourself in with a win. Wish I could have did it tonight, but I mean, I'll just have to keep finishing up front.
Well, congratulations again on the great finish. Is there anyone you want to thank or any shout-outs you want to make before we let you go here?
Obviously on the car, Lucas Oil School of Racing, and then Peninsula Pipeline, and obviously my teammates, Chad, and everybody that was running with me for this race, and then especially Vic Bloom. He put together that paint scheme for me just for this season.
Looking good out there on the racetrack. Well, congratulations again on the good finish, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again soon.
Yep, thanks, guys.
All right, well, that was RC Enerson, your runner-up here tonight, and looking up here on the schedule next week is the SMRI Productions 160 and 80-lap race at Michigan, and that's definitely going to be a thrilling race for sure as we head forward throughout this SMRI Productions Grand National Series.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun season. I'm excited to kind of partake in it. I'll be back tomorrow for happy hour right here on the Elite Racing Network for the Daytona 500. That will be on Wednesday, same time. I believe tomorrow we're going at either 8 or 8:30. Just I would say tune in right after the NASCAR Clash ends. That's about when we'll be starting up. We'll do a little pre-race show. We'll do some interviews. You'll probably get to hear Ryan Gavel right here talk a little bit about his chances to win the Daytona 500 on Wednesday. So please tune in for that, and then our Daytona 500 on Wednesday. But with that, Ryan, you got any closing thoughts on this great race as we kind of scroll through the results?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a really good race, and I'm excited for the rest of the season and what it brings. We had a ton of cars out in this series, and a lot of them are really competitive, and I'm excited to see how it goes once you get to these mile and a halves and these short tracks and the road courses, and see who starts to shine once we get to the more regular racetrack. But Daytona always puts on a great show, and I'm excited for tomorrow night and Wednesday night, the Daytona 500, and I'm planning on probably doing a few laps with the team and happy hour tomorrow night. So you'll probably hear from me up in the booth, talking from the driver's standpoint, of course. But yeah, I'm excited for Wednesday night and the start to our Cup season. So definitely tune in the next 2 nights for some good racing action.
And with that, I am David Westergreen along with Ryan Gavel. You also heard Rishabh Khosla tonight for the Elite Racing Network, C2 Freight, Richmar Florist, SMRI, and anyone else who our sponsors are. So long and good night. We'll see you guys tomorrow.